Hello, welcome and good evening ladies and gentlemen to another round of racing in the ever exciting Next Gen Racing Touring Car Championship, or the NXTCC Season 6, as brought to you on the Premier Sim Racing platform, available only on PC, known as iRacing and powered by IMB Racewear. We are here in Australia once again ladies and gentlemen. It's the first time we're visiting Australia this season, but we couldn't go without making a visit down under, and indeed we are at one of the staple circuits of the NXTCC, and it is none other than where's the Sandown International Motor Raceway. A circuit located in the sunny suburb of Springvale, a suburb of Melbourne. It is a circuit like no other when it comes to close, intense racing. With a length of only 1.92 miles, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's going to be a short and simple and sweet circuit, but far from it. This is arguably a drag strip circuit, known thus for the fact it's got two long straights, both approximately 900 metres in length, albeit the second straight, the back straight, being 899 metres in length. But we'll let it get away with a missing metre compared to the start-finish straight, which is 900 metres exactly. And these two straights connect together a whole sequence of 13 corners. All 13 of these corners being absolutely terrific in their own right, and all culminating at the end of each and every corner complex sequence with a right-angled left-hand corner. So that means it's going to be about battles on the brakes, it's going to be about traction out of the corners, and all about the run on the straight in towards the next heavy braking zone. And for our drivers, you know what that means. It's going to be door-to-door battling action from lights out to checker flag in each and every race, and will we have the pleasure of seeing it all play out live from circuit side today. As we welcome you all to this broadcast on what is our multiple media platforms. You could be tuning in right now via either of the two official Next Gen Racing media platforms. The first one being on YouTube at youtube.com and search for Next Gen Racing, and welcome to you guys and girls on YouTube. But if you're not a YouTube person, you could be on Facebook, much like the ever-present and great fan of this series, Katie Eames, in the Facebook chat, who's given a huge shout out to the Verano Motorsport boys of what is Matt Emerson and Kevin Smith, and we give a shout out to Katie Eames, and we're doing fantastically here, Katie, and hope you're doing so as well. And well, you could be tuning like Katie on Facebook. But of course, we also have the third media platform for your viewing pleasure, and that is the unofficial broadcast being brought to you also on Twitch at twitch.tv/TX141. And welcome to you guys and girls tuning in via Twitch. And who is TX141? I hear you ask. Well, allow me to introduce myself as your host and commentator for this series. My name is Paul Walsh, also known as TX141 or Britain a Spit, depending on what media you follow me on. Now I bring you all your racing action today, indeed the entirety of the season, as we continue the story. And our story for today will be at the following times in Greenwich Mean Time, that's GMT, or Universal Coordinate Time, UTC. And as we can see, in just under 18 minutes time, we'll be going into our qualifying session, 15 minutes in duration, all the drivers out on circuit. And when we do have the best part of 50 drivers in a 10 day, it is going to get cramped, it's going to get crowded, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And we'll, after qualifying, we head to the grid for our first of 3 races, all than 16 laps in duration, all sprint races as well. No pit stops today unless there's damage on a driver's car. And the first race will begin underway at 8:15 this evening, after which we'll take a brief breather before returning for the build-up to race number 2 just before 9 o'clock. And then we'll be taking a brief breather after race number 2, and we're going to need it, because race number 3 is going to be the ever-much-loved reverse grid race, and that will be getting underway at approximately 9:45 this evening, but not without the reverse grid draw beforehand from the commentary booth. So 3 races on our schedule, and an absolutely brilliant circuit to go racing, and goodness me, that track temperature is piping up right now, 38 degrees centigrade, but a nice, relatively cool 20 degrees centigrade, albeit Australia right now coming out of what is effectively its sunny summer season and heading towards its winter season on the southern hemisphere. And well, as things go south weather-wise, they won't be going south with the racing. But let's go over to our calendar schedule for this season and give you a reminder. In the fact that we started off our journey back on the 12th of March 2024, and that was at the Silverstone National Circuit in the United Kingdom, our one and only visit to the United Kingdom for this season. And then we continued the story last time out on the 19th of March in Italy at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, on the Monza Grand Prix circuit without its first chicane. And there we got to see some absolutely brilliant batting up and down our 3 classes. In the AM class, it was the story of Mark Sykes, who led the way in all 3 races and picked up a triplet of wins. And as you're going to see in the AM Drivers' Championship shortly, it's shaking things up between him and Harley Bicknell. We also saw in the Pro-Am class was a great number of rivals emerging between our drivers. But the one relative constant was the fact that Adam McNally's consistency in the Pro-Am class has seen him leap to the top of the standings over Nick Clibbins. And keep your eyes out for Daniel Downing, who had a nightmare of a race at Monza and therefore be looking to try and turn things around today. And meanwhile, in the overall consideration with the pros in particular, well, Wojciech Swirydowicz been ever consistent. He continues to stand tall, and we saw that in Italy. But today, of course, is the 26th of March, and we are here in Australia at the Sandown International Motor Raceway. And after today, round number 4 in a week's time, will see us make our way to Spain and to a newcomer newcomer to the series, and that is the Motorland Aragon circuit. On the 2nd of April, our drivers will be taking on the touring car layout of the brilliant Spanish circuit before making their way stateside for the state of California, and in particular, it will be the classic street circuit that is Long Beach on the 9th of April to wrap up the first half of the season. But then we make our way into our mid-season break, and when we do return on the 23rd of April, 2 weeks after, we'll be going racing once again in the United States of America, albeit in the US state of New York at the Watkins Glen International Circuit, the mecca of road racing in the US of A. And then we'll be making our way back to Italy for the Autodromo Internazionale del Mugello, and it'll be the first time we visited the circuit, recently introduced the iRacing simulator platform, and our drivers will get to grips with its Grand Prix layout on the 30th of April before they make their way to a circuit they'll be very familiar with, and that will be the German circuit of the Hockenheimring Baden-Württemberg, where drivers are going to be taking on its Grand Prix layout on the 7th of May. And then with 2 rounds to go, while penultimate round will be back down under in Australia, we're making our way to the now defunct, however, we're reviving it from the grave. It will be the Oran Park Raceway Circuit on the 14th of May, and we bring everything to a close on the 21st of May at the Daytona International Speedway at the road course layout of the infamous Florida State Circuit. And we're in the Sunshine State. Who is going to come up with the smiles and who'll be walking away tearful? We'll have to wait and see. We've got a long journey ahead of us, however, and we continue that story today with round number 3. Now, going into this round, let's give you a recap of the championship standings. We start off with the overall Drivers' Championship, and as we can see, Wojciech Swirydowicz leads by a margin that is staying strong at 32 points over Luciano Witvoet. Witvoet was a revelation last time out at Monza, putting together an absolutely brilliant set of results to move him into P2, and now he stands what is the best part of 15 points clear of Jamie Dory in P3. Adam Delman and Mikey Doble wrap up your top 5 there, both on 204 points, with Doble having a difficult start to his season, no doubt about it, and this is the first time in his NXTCC campaign where he's not picked up a win in a race in the first 2 rounds of the season. Adam Delman staying ahead of him based on result countback, but outside the top 5 you've got a sizable gap of 30 points to Benjamin McCluskey, with Isaac Doble sitting P7, the leading prime driver, in fact leading pro driver it should be said, on 166 points. Joseph Doble meanwhile sits a further 5 points behind, with then Nick Clearing staying P9, the leading prime driver, on 157 points ahead of Gavin Gardner, with the pro driver there holding on to the top 10, and 145 to the 122 of Patrick Falconer, a driver who definitely came on strong at Monza and demonstrated his masterclass of the Audi RS3, and the JW Motorsport driver will be looking to do even more today to break his way into the top 10. But you have fierce competition from Wayne Douglas, Kieran Sharp, Alex Meredith, and also Jack Jeffries, who all sit within the margin of what is 13 points behind him. Adam McNally has moved to P16 ahead of Slavomir Javoski, with Daniel Downing falling to P18 ahead of Shane Piggott, and Matthew Sheraton has made his way into the top 20 and has become outside the top 20 from P21 through to P40. As we can see, Ben Altrier sits on 78 points, 3 clear of Alan McCain, with these two in a right back and forth battle in the overall standings, and Luke Jones only a further point behind. We then do have Mr. Winus sitting P24 and 69 points, the Track Scotland driver doing well to steer clear of Andrew Pike, with Akram Zanoon P26, your pole sitter, the prime who took the first ever overall qualifying pole position from a non-pro driver as of what was last time out in Monza, a brilliant pole lap, but it didn't go work Monza for him, and he'll be looking for redemption today, ahead of Matthew Addy, who's had bad luck all the way through the season so far. Can he turn the bad luck around? That'll be his target, and then Duncan Rise, Sam Van Olst and Russell Fowler completing a top 30. It's Lee Horn in P31 ahead of Reese Watt, with Mark Sykes P33 currently what is your leading AM driver, and he's only a point clear of Mark Kent, the second place AM driver in the overall standings. And we do have Sam Smith marathon up your top 35 there ahead of Kieran Smart, with Marcel Fritsch, Ian Manners, Harley Bicknell and Andrew Holmes completing a top 40. On the 26 of Holmes, it comes to the 25 of Mark Redford, with John Higgins Jr. on 23 points, 1 clear of Gabriel Yilmaz, and then we can see Piotr Jegoslerski and Jack Bolton complete a top 45, with Darren Nils, Daniel Fritz, Riley Sheringham, Craig Tiddleston, and James Massenskow completing a top 50. And then to wrap up the standings, it's Jonathan Collins on 7 points, 2 clear of what is their driver of Mitchell West, and then Roy Plummer, Kevin Smith, and Tom Anderson. And yet to score any points, we do have Kristen Racines, also we have Costa Chatsconstantinou, also Jeff Jazzbat, I do believe Jez Banks, I should say that, on the third time of asking, Marcella Reles, and also, what is there, Reese Edwards. But then coming on to our Prime Championship standings, and here we can see how the tables have turned after 2 rounds of racing. Adam McNally now leads on 244 to the 217 and Nick Clibbins, and, well, McNally will be looking to try and maintain his advantage. Daniel Downing has fallen to P3 from the top step of the championship after Silverstone. It all went wrong at Monza, but it's not over yet. He's 3 points clear of Ben Altrier, with Alex Meredith a further 2 behind, and Meredith is still trying to find the form which could lead him to a championship winning campaign. Matthew Sheraton sits only outside the top 5 based on result countback now, and a further point behind him is Slavomir Jarvosky. The Semper Racing driver just definitely showing a lot of pace, but falling foul over a couple of races and losing some critical points. The same could be said for Luke Jones and Shane Piggott. Meanwhile, the Ace of Spades Racing driver showing that consistency is key as he sits P9 on 176 points, 5 clear of Alan McCain, who completes your top 10. Ankram Zanoon, meanwhile, sits P11 on 163 points. He'll be looking for plenty more today as he goes racing, as will Wynis in P12 there on 161 points. And well, the Track Scotland driver will be very eager to try and bring a little bit more pace to bear today, but will he be able to do so? That's the big question that will be on his mind. However, then we do have Matthew Addy at P13, just behind him ahead of Duncan Rise, with Reese Watt in at P15. And then we do have Sam Van Ol's P16 ahead of Sam Smith, with Marcel Fritsch, Kieran Smart and Piotr Jegoslewski completing your top 20. And then outside the top 20 of the primes, it's Ian Manners P21 on 72 points, 2 clear of John Higgins Jr., with Andrew Holmes P23 on 56 points, 12 clear of Mitchell West, and then Tom Anderson completes the standings of drivers who've got points to their name, with Christopher Seens and also Jez Banks yet to score any points. We then come to the AM class. In our third Drivers' Championship standings, Mark Sykes has taken the lead after that triplet of wins at Monza, and will what a time to deliver it and move Harley Bicknell down to P2. However, could we see the momentum once again swing in the favour of the JW Motorsport driver, or could we see a different name outside the top 2 lead the way? Could Gabriel Yilmaz today be the one to make it a trio of wins, for example, or could it be Jonathan Collins, who's continuing to show growing pace as he looks to go further and further up the field for Whiskey Runners Racing? And Mark Kent, meanwhile, for Full Tilt V Motorsport, sits P5 on 215 points, only 1 clear of Craig Tillerson. Darren Hills completes the run to P7 on 208. What is the best part there? 26 clear of Riley Sheringham, with Kevin Smith and Daniel Fritz completing a top 10. And then James Mansfield sits P11 on 111 points, 12 behind outside the top 10, but well clear of Roy Plummer in P12. And yet score any points, so they've not been in attendance in any of the rounds so far. We do have Costa Chats Continentanu, Rhys Edwards and Phil Moss-Blau. We're now coming on to our team's championship, and here we can see it's NXTGEN Pink who lead the way on 443 points. The defending champions continue to hold on to their fine defensive form, but the advantage they have is only a slender one over Doble Sim Racing, and that being the best region of what is 35 points. Semper Racing set a further 100 behind, and well, right now it looks like the battle for P3 is only growing tighter between them and SRL NXTGEN Gold, with VB Fusion in the world of racing sitting P5 ahead of iRacing Esports, and then NXTGEN there sitting in P7 ahead of JW Motorsport, with the Sim Racing Collective a further 4 points behind, and Goldwing Motorsport bringing up the rear in P10 to complete your top 10. From there, 138 points, you've got the 108 of Redgrove Projects, who set a further 30 points behind, and therefore clear Full Tilt V Motorsport with the best of the rest fight on our hands, with Ace of Spades Racing P13 ahead of Aztec Racing, and Track Scotland at the bottom end of what is the top 15, only on result countback. Performance Link Esports, meanwhile, sit where's the best part of a further 23 points behind, ahead of Grant WS Motorsport Racing. And then Banks Redford West Racing, Whiskey Runners Racing and the organisation and C Racing complete your championship standings to the top 20. But outside the top 20, let's not forget about them. We also have Rhino Motorsport yet to score their first points of the season in the team's championship, and also Virtual Reality Autosports, both teams chasing their first points and move themselves off the bottom rung. But coming from our championship standings then, let's talk a little bit about our circuit for today. And well, it is the Sandown International Motor Raceway, located, as we mentioned earlier, in the suburb of Springvale in the city of Melbourne in the state of Victoria in Australia. And as always, thank you to iRacing.com for their brilliant circuit maps that come with the absolutely fantastic simulator. And well, this circuit, as we talked about earlier, is a drag strip circuit. In the fact, 2 long straights, one at the start-finish straight, the other on the back straight, connecting the corner sequences together. But the key element throughout here is the fact that this is an incredibly narrow circuit when you're not on the straights. Indeed, the straights will see our drivers battle 2, 3, perhaps even 4 wide, particularly 4 wide into turn 1. We're no strangers to seeing that happen. But as soon as you make your way into the corner sequences, it's 2 wide as best, but typically 1 wide, and that is where all the battles and the potential door rubbing is going to come. But as our drivers make the way on around, they'll roar the way down the start-finish straight and into the open left-hander at turn 1, and they'll look to carry as much speed as possible before going into the very tight and difficult chicane of turns 2 and 3, with those raised apex curves completely unsettling the cars and the suspension. But getting it right, they'll head hard into the brakes into turn 4, the first of our hairpin style corners, before blasting the way out and onto the back straight. And it's going to be a charge uphill towards the highest point of the circuit through the kink of 5 and up to the peak at turn 6, before a downhill drop through turns 7, 8 and hard onto the brakes into turn number 9. And we wouldn't be shy of seeing some drivers go overly deep there with their enthusiasm on the speed and the brakes. But get it right, they'll make the way out to the left-hand right-angle corner to go down the back stretch there of turns 10 in towards 11. And then it's going to be the sharp right into the left-hand chicane sequence of 11 and 12 to set our drivers up onto the flat-out run through turn 13 to complete the lap and do it all over again. And when you do have a grand total of 16 laps of racing for each and every race around here, you can definitely tell it's going to be very fast-paced. But coming on to our rules for today. As always, we should remind you this is a fixed setup series where all the drivers are provided with setups ahead of each and every race in a round, as provided by the NXTGEN Racing Stewardship team. Driver class-wise, drivers shall be assigned to one of three classes for this season. That's Pro, Prime, and Am, and those driver classes shall be finalised as the conclusion of round number 3. So after this round, we will be locking the classes in. Sprint race-wise, the race 1 grid shall be set based on results of qualifying. That's a given. The race 2 grid shall be set based on results of race 1. So what that means in practice is that the winner of race 1 starts on pole for race 2, and we work the qualifying order down accordingly. But the race 3 grid shall see things mixed up as a reverse grid based on results of race 2, albeit with the caveat the reversal position will be drawn live from the commentary booth between P13 and P23. And he will cut to the commentary booth, will bring out the NXTGEN Racing Lottery Bowl, draw 2 numbers out of the bowl from 6 through to 12, add them together, and that will be our reverse grid position. And each driver shall have 1 fast repair available in each race, and each race shall conclude after either allotted lap amount of what is 16 laps, so approximately 21 minutes of racing, or 30 minutes, whichever expires first. And we are expecting the laps to expire first unless we see multiple safety cars. Now, extending on to race stewarding, an independent race director is stewarding the races for track limit infringements and the deployment of the safety car. And with those pesky track limit warnings, it will be the first and second warnings, there's no penalty. On the third warning, it's 5-second penalty, post-race time penalty, that is. On the fourth warning, we double it to 10 seconds. And on the fifth warning, it's a drive-through penalty that must be served within 3 laps of being awarded. And all racing incidents shall be reviewed at post-round. We'd also like to take this moment to remind you that success ballast is in effect for this series, and it's applied on a race-by-race basis to all 3 of our disciplines. That's overall Drivers' Championship, Pro-Am, and also Am. And as we can see for qualifying in race 1, it will be based on the standings we recapped recently. But when we go to race number 2, we'll be updating the success ballast based on the finishing positions of race 1, and doing the same for race 3 based on the finishing positions of race number 2. And well, here's all the success ballast tables, and well, that ever-present 56.1 kilograms, the overall Drivers' Championship leader, Wojciech Swirydowicz, never seems to be quite affected by it compared to how other drivers have felt, but could he be affected by it today? It was a very different style of circuit compared to our opening 2 venues of the season. We'll have to wait and see. And in the Prime class, well, of course, it's going to be Adam McNally, who's going to deal with 32.5 kilograms of weight. And in the Am class, well, Mark Sykes will have his first taste of success ballast in the car. And how will it play out going into tonight? That will be the big question for him. All those questions and more are going to be answered, and they'll be answered from circuit side. And as we make our way back to the track, ladies and gentlemen, we do look to what is the final element of what is our warm-up practice session here as I try to make the way on around. And as they do so, everyone is absolutely set and ready to go racing in, no doubt about it, with 3 minutes left on the clock. A new livery for the Fusion Racing Machine of Craig Tillerson as the Englishman makes his way for the King of 5, and uphill he goes in towards turn 6. But as he roars his way up the hill, we say hello to Susie C in the YouTube chat, who's cheering on the Aztec Racing team. Well, I think it's only fair we get to see an Aztec Racing Machine as a result. And well, here is one, the former James Francis Gale. Aztec Racing makes his way in towards the turn 2-3 chicane in the Audi RS3. It's going to be very interesting to see whether the Audis hold up the momentum they've had over the opening 2 rounds of the season, because the Audis have been the cars to beat so far, particularly at Monza last night, with it being a power circuit and the Audi being the power-focused touring car compared to its rivals. But we are expecting today, whilst we do have 2 short straights, which definitely will see the Audi get up to its top gear faster than any other car and build up the speed. This is a circuit that does seem to bode better for the likes of the handling cars, particularly when it comes to the likes of what is the Honda Civic Type R, of which we're looking at the Grant Motorsport one being piloted in the 31 by Jack Bolton here in the Pro class, and he makes his way on down in towards turns 11 and 12, and when he does so, going through the medium speed chicane, he'll be absolutely eager to lay down the foundation and carry his momentum in the championship, no doubt about it, after what was a bit of a difficult time last time at Monza. But the Honda drivers really having to try and siphon slipstream at Monza, no question about it. But this should be a much different scenario for them, and they should really be able to use the bold brakes that the Honda has in order to be able to get 1 step ahead. As Bolton makes his way on through turn at number 1. With a little bit of traffic in front of it, including where's one of our AMs there, I believe, from Whiskey Runners Racing, in fact from NXTGEN Racing I should say, in where's the Honda Civic Type R. Just trying to discern who that is, we can't quite at the moment. And we do have some new drivers on the grid today, and well, those new drivers being where's Costa Chatsman and Antonu, who we see parked up there, the privateer, again all set and ready to go racing in the 284, and well, we look forward to seeing how he gets on today, no doubt about it. And I do believe representing the team of Costa C Photography, in fact. And well, meanwhile, as we look from him to Ben Altria, making his way on around through the final kink and charging his way on towards another practice lap. We've got less than a minute to go, and I think right now for him, it's all going to be about getting himself all set up and ready to go here in the Hyundai Elantra M. And we do know that this car is the one-lap pace monster, and it will go very quickly around this circuit over a single lap. But then again, we've got some very high track temperatures, and those could definitely come into effect for the Full Tilt Motorsport driver today as he makes his way through turns at 2 and 3 there. But we'll have to wait to see who puts it on pole and ever more. And we've seen some surprises this season so far, but hopefully some of the drivers that won't be surprises today. And the biggest talking point, of course, going into today, Mikey Doble, defending champion, 3-time NXTCC overall drivers champion, yet to score a win this season. An overall win that is in any races, and the Doble Sim Racing driver will be looking to try and put a stop to that today as we put a stop to this practice session, because the checker flag comes out, and you know what time it means, ladies and gentlemen. It means it is time for qualifying, and as our drivers all make their way back into the pits very shortly, it's going to be our first race style session of the day. Who's going to be on pole come the end of it? Let's find out. So as 15 minutes of qualifying gets underway, it's going to be a very crowded circuit very quickly indeed as all the drivers begin to marshal the way out the pit lane. You can see already the fact that Alex Meredith and Kieran Sharp there racing to get out of the pit lane faster than anybody else. And Meredith, I think right now absolutely chomping at the bit to try and get out there as the lead car. And the next-gen driver eager as many here to make sure that the pit's as soon as possible. Because this is one of those circuits where, given its relatively short length, it is going to be incredibly difficult to find some clear air in order to be able to get in a solid qualifying lap. But the question is, do you go for a clear air lap around here, or do you look for the toe? Well, it's a bit of a conundrum in the fact you have 2 straights where you can definitely pick up a couple of attempts, as Meredith there picks up a little bit of damage to the side of the car by grazing at what is the barrier. Well, I hope that's not upset the suspension on the front right of the car too much, otherwise that could be a quick trip to the pits to do some repair work. But the point around here is you want to try and get your first laps in clear air whilst you can, and then try to pick up the toe of a teammate or some drivers that are relatively on the same qualifying pace as you. And that slipstream can be worth a couple of attempts on the whole. But when you're coming down for the corner sequences such as turns 7, 8 and into 9, as we're seeing Meredith do so right now as he makes his way past the camera, wonderful camera shot there to give you a sense of the speed and also how they approach turn 9, that downhill braking zone. Well, the fact is, having that dirty air with the front of the car invokes more understeer, and touring car racing machines, front engine, front wheel drive, and that means they are very prone to understeer, and it's the last thing you want in one of these when you're coming down from what is the best part of 100 plus miles an hour into a braking zone of around 60. As they go on to their first flying laps, we do have what is, of course, our newcomers, one of which is Chats Continental, as we see him make his way down the start finish straight onto his first flying lap. He's going to be racing the 284 for this season, and he'll be in the AM class. And we're going from one new AM on the grid today to another. We also do have the arrival of Verano Motorsport, as it's gone a bit wrong there coming out of, I believe that was turn number 9, and going through the King of 10 now, that is Matt Emmons. And we're in a very different livery for the Verano Motorsport team. Normally we associate them with the yellow, black and blue colours, but running in white and red, and then a little bit of yellow tint over the Verano Motorsport badge on the side of the car on the doors. And he's going to be in the Hyundai Veloster for this season, and we're very happy to see Matt back on the grid. Indeed, he has previously featured a number of NXTGEN racing series, took some time out, but he's now back and absolutely ready to go. And we say hello to the official Verano Motorsport YouTube channel there in the YouTube chat, who's wishing the best luck to their drivers. And Emmons partnering with teammate Kevin Smith, who we see here in the more classic livery Verano Motorsport machine that you'll know, and both of them in the Veloster. And I think that'll be just as much for research purposes and exchange notes as it will be about the fact that it's a car they're both comfortable in. As he makes his way up the hill towards turn number 6. Well, we talked a little bit about the car choices here in terms of how they could influence things. We are expecting the Hondas to go well and also the Velosters to go quite well, but never count out the Elantras. But this could be a circuit with the Audis do struggle a little bit compared to how they previously have done. And as he does make his way down there, getting a bit wrong was Smith in fact to catch the car when it went too wide, but just gets it stopped in time. It's so easy to make a mistake around here, no doubt about it. And as we say hello to Mark Winus there in the YouTube chat, who's cheering on the Track Scotland guys. Well, we've got more drivers continue to put lap times on the board. Indeed, those lap times are just going to continue to stack up on the left-hand side of your screen, and you'll see the top 35 on the timing tower. We'll keep you updated, drive outside the top 35 as well where we can. But as we look here to your current provisional pole sitter, Isaac Doble, in a 16.933. He's definitely been enjoying a great debut season in the Pro class, of course, defending Pro and Champion. But he can't defend the championship given the fact he's been promoted. But the point being here, in that promotion, it has not upset him whatsoever. And in fact, he's absolutely taken to the challenge. There's no doubt about it, as he serpentines his way down through turn 7 and 8 there. And the car behind him, Sandown, not quite making was the apex of turn at number 7 and running wide. That'll be a disallowed lap. but our drivers are right on the ragged edge when it comes to those track limits. And meanwhile, Jamie Dorey a little bit behind, trying to follow after Isaac Doble right now in the Audi RS3. I think this could be the theme today, that we see the Audis playing chase to their peers, as right now the next gen pink driver makes his way out of the final major corner onto the king of 13. And well, Wojciech Swirydowicz immediately makes us mark our words by taking provisional pole on ways of 16.256, 3.5 tenths faster than Isaac Doble on a 16.631. The Semper Racing driver absolutely clocked in here in the opening 5 minutes. And could we see a high 15 by the end of this? Could we see a 15.9? Well, it's going to be one of those questions which we'll wait to see the answer. But more times coming on in, and well, here is Stuart Whiteness, or the gentleman I refer to as Mr. Whiteness when going through the championship standings. And well, he makes his way on through turn number, definitely a gentleman racer. And right now the Scotsman doing well in his qualifying session, currently full fastest prime driver P14, but immediately pushed down as Mitchell West on home territory moves up to P13 on 17.318. But Reese Watt meanwhile absolutely all the way up the top there in the prime class, P4. And well, as he makes his way on up the back straight, the Jody Motorsport driver in the Audi right now absolutely feeling confident as he comes on down in towards what will be turn at number 6. Maurice Shoney will get an on-board lap with one of our drivers. But meanwhile in the AM class, we've got exchanges going on between Mark Sykes. Oh goodness me, and that is an error under braking there from Reese Watt. I think the rear right tyre just taken to the grass slightly as he snapped the brake on, and in the end the car being snatched to the gravel. He's going to roll it forward gradually, but that is going to be a very gradual rejoin. He's not going to have all the time in the world here, and indeed with so many drivers coming through. I mean, you look at the track map on the top right corner of your screen right now, you can see just how long he's got to wait before he gets a little bit of clear space to return. And well, that's the risk. If you make a mistake in qualifying, you lose an absolutely sensational amount of time. And what articulating that, and well, with that at Crampton Noon now, they're the fastest of the prime drivers out there. P2 put down a P3 by Jack Jeffries. And we recommend keeping an eye out as well. Jeffries looking very fast at Monza and looking to do more of the same today in what is the Hyundai Elantra as he makes his way into turn at number 1, the 67 driver. And as he comes on through, well, we're overdue for an on-board lap, but without further ado, we are going to be getting one, ladies and gentlemen, because Patrick Falconer is going to take us around for a flying lap on the Sandown circuit. He's making his way down towards turn number 1 in the Audi RS3, and as he does so, the JW Motorsport machine will look to his right hand side for his brake marker, braking about 80 metres from corner apex down to 4th gear, avoiding the apex curve but using the exit curve there in order to pull the car around. Then to turn at number 2 on the brakes, about 50 metres from corner apex down to 3rd gear, mounting the curve as much as he dreams to dare to do so, and then on the brakes again, 50 metres from corner apex at turn number 4, holding 3rd gear and now pushing upwards through the gearbox. He makes his way onto the back straight, going through the King of 5. He'll clip as much of the apex curve as well to try and cut the corner, and it's a run uphill in towards turn at number 6 with the Tava car in front, and out towards the highest speed you'll see now of approximately what will be 135 miles an hour as he makes his way into the downhill drop, coming down off the throttle, dropping down the gear, and now making his way from left into right into left as driver in front gets it wrong. Falconer does the same, and the car lets go on the grass, and well, goodness me, there Ian manages in front also getting it wrong, and well, Patrick Falconer, I think, almost being hypnotised by the error of the car in front, and in the end getting it wrong as well, but they both managed to get away with it just about as he brings it back onto the circuit. But easy mistake to make there, and that just goes to show you, maybe a short circuit, but it's far from simple when it comes to delivering an absolutely golden lap here at the Sandown International Motor Raceway. But meanwhile, as we look to the timing tower, we can see that Marcel Fritsch, currently your pro and provisional pole sitter, P4 overall. And the Hyundai Elantra driver, who's definitely had a little bit of a midfield season so far on his debut in the NXTCC in the opening 2 rounds, was starting to spread his wings and fly high here, and will only head to Stuart Whiteness by Wiz 8 thousandths. The two drivers absolutely razor tight, and we can see Whiteness just a little bit further back, as we can see Daniel Downing getting it wrong there, coming down into the braking zone for 9, a car hitting the barrier off camera. We can hear that through our ear cups, and well, I do believe that was the car of Adam Delman making its way to the barrier, and those barriers are going to get very acquainted today with touring car paint, as right now Whiteness going on through the final quarter. What's it going to be as he heads towards the timeline this time around? Can he beat Fritsch to the line in terms of what time it's going to be? Well, Marcel Fritsch currently 8 thousandths faster. Whiteness crosses the line. Does he improve? He doesn't. Meanwhile, Piotr Jegoslavski has gone purple in the middle sector. He's currently P16, but he doesn't improve either. And as they head across the timeline, well, half the qualifying session still left to go. It's still a ram-packed circuit, and meanwhile in the AM class, Harley Bicknell is still what is your fastest driver out there as he makes his way on down towards turn number 1. He's only faster than Mark Sykes by the best part of what is half a tenth, and that is a tiny margin. And as we say hello to handsome Stu in the YouTube chat, and I hope you're doing well, Stu. It's always great to see you there looking good. And well, we also say thank you to KTM for clarifying with regards to the livery to the Rhino Motorsport cars. Interesting fact, the white and red livery that you're seeing of Matt Evans, that is one of their Academy driver machines. And well, the lads have opted to run both liveries for this series, and great to see their liveries in full shining fashion. Well, as our drivers make the way on through, let's look a little bit further down the order, and Riley Sheridan right now yet to get a lap time on the board. Currently P48 as would be classified if the session were to finish, but no lap time accounted for. The same for Wayne Douglas, so I do believe he's serving a qualifying ban for this round and picked up too many instant points over the first 2 rounds. Also for Slavomir Javoski, not currently out there, and also for Costa Chatskonstantu, yet to get a lap on the board. So a few drivers struggling out there, but Riley Sheridan right now in the Honda Civic Type R looking to get his first lap time on the board. And well, I think just having some difficulty in finding some space, but sometimes as well, not getting a lap on the board, particularly if you're an AM driver, or the AMs will normally gravitate towards the back of the field by default, given their relative pace expected. And well, right now, Sheringham, I think, in a bit of an inconvenient position. The fact he's trying to take turns 2 and 3 under his own impetus, but in the end, find himself falling foul and not in favour of the NXTGEN pink car that goes around the outside. So does Daniel Down in the Goldwing Motorsport car. I think that was Gavin Gardner trying to negotiate his way on through, but he is absolutely cramped out there. He's merciless, and I think Sheringham right now just can't find the space to get a lap on the board, given his relative pace perhaps compared to the peers around him. But as he makes his way up towards turn number 6, going around the outside, that will be Jack Jeffries, who's going to simply try and take the space. Luciano Witvoet flashing his lights there, I think trying to say to the drivers in front, can you sort things out please? I'm coming roaring through in a qualifying now. You can see Witvoet there absolutely hard and fast, but the world of race driver that I think being held up as he goes a little bit deep, but not as much as Sheringham, who runs wide onto the grass. And will Sheringham right now definitely being muscled out of qualifying form, as meanwhile we see Witvoet heading towards the timeline, coming through turns 11 and 12. He's currently P14. Can he find a bit more time out? As Mikey Doe will take the original pole at 15.621, and well, right now what is 800ths faster than Wojciech Swirydowicz, the only 2 drivers there to hit what would be, into the 15.6. In fact, Swirydowicz is still on a 15.7, so Doe was the first driver into the 15.6s. Can anybody else follow him? That'll be the challenge. But as more lap times continue through, Sandown moves up to P26 off camera, or what is for him in the Pro-Am class, I do believe P14, and that was on a 16.331. Daniel Fritz, meanwhile, now currently your provisional and pole sitter, as Whiskey Runners race on home soil, looking to try and put himself in with a gold star performance today in the Hyundai Elantra, and we're looking good in P27. He's got the best part of 5 places between himself and second place driver of Mark Sykes, P32, as he comes on through turn number 4 right now. 3 minutes left on the clock. Well, we are going to attempt to try and get another on-board lap with one of our drivers, and was Wojciech Swirydowicz heads to the line. We jump on board with the Semper Racing driver as he takes us around and tries to pick off from where we left off with Patrick Falconer as he roars his way down towards turn number 1. As he does so here, heading up towards top gear and getting ready to go onto the brakes. Braking at what is 90 meters from corner apex down to 4th gear. The car dancing on the front as he makes his way through 1 in towards 2 and onto the brakes here. Charges his way through, dropping a 3rd gear there. A very late downshift as he connects the dots now into turn number 4, holding 3rd gear through the left hander, back on the throttle here, getting as close towards that exit barrier as he can. 2 cars coming together there, and I believe that's Matthew Addy and another driver. We're not quite sure who the other driver was, but Swirydowicz makes his way out the back straight, picking up a distant toe of the car in front of him. That's going to aid him and give him a mile an hour or 2 as he makes his way towards the highest point of the circuit into turn number 6, and now downhill into the left-hander he falls, and as he does so, holds 5th gear, keeps the throttle in here in order to stabilise the car. From right into left, turn 7-8, onto the brakes, the apex of 8, 100 meters from the apex of turn number 9, 3rd gear as he clears the apex curve, now flat out all the way through the kink of 10, in towards turn 11 he goes, lets the car come over to the left-hand side, open up the corner as much as possible, brake at the 50-meter board there, down to 3rd gear, but immediately turn left in for turn number 12, avoid the apex curve, unsettles the car, and now flat out to the timeline, cutting as close to the inside barrier there to make turn 13, what is a corner-only name, as he crosses the line for Swirydowicz. Is it improvement? It's provisional pole. It's a 15.577. He flashes the lights, knowing he's on camera, I think, or at least celebrates he's put a pole lap in, but Russell Fowler responds. Fowler goes in faster. It's a prime driver who sets a 15.555, and could the Performance Link Esports driver potentially continue off where Akram Zanoon left off from where it was Monza last time out, in the fact that right now we've got some absolutely gallant primes here who are putting in absolutely brilliant performances in qualifying, and well, as he does so, it could be an Audi lockout on the front row, but look at the top 4 separated by only 600ths and 6,000ths. You could not make this up. And all the way down the field, it's currently 1 second that separates pole position through to P33, with Mark Sykes only 2 thousandths beyond that in P34. It is a dicey qualifying session, and well, who is going to be taking home the ultimate reward, which is that pole position? We'll have to wait and see as Mark Redford makes his way down to turn number 1. The Honda driver here currently P21 prime, P42 overall, not quite the qualifying session he's wanted, and was the Honda bounces his way over there. The suspension of the Honda quite vulnerable to the raised curves of Sandown, but if he can avoid the curves, you can see the car bouncing all over the shop there as he makes his way through turns 2 and 3, and it just cannot take those curves compared to his rivals. I think right now, to get himself set up for one final run of the circuit, he will have enough time to get around just about. It's going to be right on the close of this qualifying session as he makes his way on the back straight with only 30 seconds to go. Most of our drivers are not already on their final qualifying laps. They will be very shortly, and well, I think all the drivers cognizant now they've got to deliver the goods whilst there's a little bit of time remaining. And speaking of delivering the goods, Ben Altriers into the pit lane. He thinks he's got the job done for P2 Prime. P7 overall for Full Tilt Motorsport. Alex Meredith in P11 as well. Best the rest for P3 Prime, and well, still in the contention for the AM pole position. Daniel Fritz is in the pit lane, and well, we're going to see here Redford does not make his way across the line, so this will be his final lap. And well, can he find a bit more time out there? No, he's into the pits. He's not going to improve. What about Mitchell West? He comes to the timeline. He does. He improves from P37 to P34. It's a good lap from West. The 16.496 puts him P17 Prime, P34 overall. More times coming on in. Nick Clemens moves to P31. Meanwhile, Kieran Sharp leaves it late but jumps to P11 in the Honda for the Sim Racing Collective. We've still got more drivers out there, however, including what is Isaac Doble. Can he find some late improvement as Mark Sykes goes P20 to throw in Daniel Fritz, and Sykes takes an provisional pole on a 16.055 and by a sizable 10-place margin. Can any AMs get close to him as here comes Isaac Doble to try and improve? Just in front of him, that's Riley Sheringham, who's got a lap on the board. He's going to try and improve a little bit further from P47. Does he find a way to do so? He does not in the end. Isaac Doble improves to P9. Wojciech Swirydowicz meanwhile comes to the timeline. He's gone purple in sector 1. Can he take Fowler's pride away? No, he can't. Russell Fowler still stands at the top. Joseph Doble crosses the line. Doesn't improve. What about some other drivers out there? Well, meanwhile, Shane Piggott's improves to P24. Matthew Sheridan's up to P25. Reese Watts into the pits. He decides he's had enough. He's not going to improve. Harley Bicknell just dethrones Sykes from pole position in the AM class by 200 on a 16.035, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe qualifying is complete, and well, it's history being made again because a Prime has taken overall pole position, and it will be Russell Fowler who is your overall and Prime pole sitter, with Wojciech Swirydowicz, the leading pro driver, starting P2. It's an Audi lockout with an Audi P3 as well, and meanwhile in the AM class, P21 Harley Bicknell takes what will be the AM pole position by only 200ths over Mark Sykes, who joins him on the 11th row of the grid. It has been an incredibly close qualifying session, no doubt about it. You could cut the tension with a knife, but right now, well, qualifying's only one part of the story. Race 1's about to come up, and who will be leading come the end of it? Here we go as we head to the grid, and this is how all the drivers will line up for the first race of the day. So as we head into round 3 of Season 6 of the NXTCC, powered by IMB Racewear, Russell Fowler takes pole position overall and in the Prime class, following on from Akram Zanoun at Monza, and the Performance Link Esports driver is joined on the front row by what will be the pro pole sitter Wojciech Swirydowicz for Semper Racing. Patrick Falconer starts P3 for JW Motorsport ahead of Joseph Doble for Doble Sim Racing, with Patrick Falconer having his best qualifying performance of the season so far, and Mikey Doble sits P5 for Doble Sim Racing, back where he wants to be on the 3rd row of the grid, ahead of Gavin Garner for NXTGEN Ping. Ben Altriers starts P2 Prime, but P7 overall. A great qualifying session there for the Full Tilt Motorsport driver, ahead of Jamie Dory for NXTGEN Pink, and then Isaac Dolby starting at P9 there for Doble at Sim Racing, ahead of Akram Zanoun from the organisation. Not able to recreate his pole position for Monza, but still able to recreate a top 10 overall, and behind him will be Kieran Sharp, who starts best the rest P11 for the Sim Racing Collective, and he'll be joined on the 6th row of the grid by Reese Watt for JW Motorsport. We then have on the 7th row of the grid Jack Jeffries for Red Grove Projects and Alex Meredith for NXTGEN, ahead of Matthew Sheraton for Aztec Racing with a season best qualifying performance so far, and behind him will be Benjamin McCluskey, who joins him on the 8th row of the grid for NXTGEN Ping. Piotr Jigosewski starts P17 for Semper Racing, ahead of Daniel Dannon for Goldwyn Motorsport, and your top 20 is completed by Andrew Pike for the Sim Racing Collective and Lee Horn for NXTGEN. Harley Bicknell, your AM pole sitter, starts P21 in an all-AM 11th row, and the JW Motorsport driver is joined by his rival from NXTGEN of Mark Sykes. Keep your eyes on them into turn number 1. And then P23 behind him is Luke Jones of JW Motorsport ahead of Luciano Witvoet, the World of Racing driver, who had a compromised qualifying session from when we saw him on camera, and those compromises have definitely found themselves falling short with P24. And then starting P25, Shane Piggott for Ace of Spades Racing ahead of Alan McCain for iRacing Esports, with Sam Smith, his teammate, just behind, and WS Racing Esports' Marcel Fritsch. How quickly the qualifying sessions turned against him as the Austrian driver starts P28. And then Sam Van Ol's P29 for Goldwyn Motorsport ahead of Stuart Winess, who completes your top 30 for Track Scotland. We'll then have starting P31, the 16th row, Matthew Addy for NXTGEN ahead of Whiskey Runners Racing, Daniel Fritz, who's your third place AM qualifier P32. And then Nick Clement starts P33 for iRacing Esports ahead of Adam Delwant for SRO with NXTGEN Gold, struggling in qualifying it would seem. And the same could be said not for Mitchell West, who starts P35 for Mitchell West Performance, but Jack Bolton for Grant Motorsport starts P36. We'll then have starting P37, Matt Emmons on his debut for Rhino Motorsport, ahead of Adam McNally for SRO with NXTGEN Gold, and Jonathan Collins for Whiskey Runner Racing, and Ian Maz for JW Motorsport complete your top 40. With James Spencer-Scow P41 for Aztec Racing ahead of the privateer of Mark Redford, and then Kevin Smith for Runner Motorsport starts P43 ahead of rival from Aztec Racing Gabriel Yilmaz, with Roy Plummer for NXTGEN and Fusion Racing's Craig Tillerson on your 23rd row of the grid. And then starting P47 will be Riley Sheringham for Virtual Reality Autosports, with Wayne Douglas alongside him starting P48, and on the final full row of the grid it'll be Costa C Photography Racing's Costa Chance Continental and Semper Racing's Slavomir Jarovski, who completes your grid of 50 cars. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, the grid is all set. Our drivers are in position. 50 cars all set and ready to go. 16 laps of racing await them, and we are only moments away from seeing the lights go on. But the question is, can Russell Fowler bring it on home and bring home the first ever non-pro win in the first race of the day in the NXTCC, or will Wojciech Swirydowicz continue on his ways of taking the results as they come? He's on the front row. It's an Audi drag race to the line into turn 1, and behind them Patrick Falconer and Joseph Doble, two drivers who've had their best qualifying performances of the season, and they'll be very eager to get things underway the right way. The lights are going on, and it's going to be 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for our first race of the day as they all launch their way down towards turn 1. There's been an instant further back. A car parks and the start-finish line hasn't moved. And once cars in the seas around it, but Wojciech Swirydowicz gets ahead of Russell Fowler into turn 1. And as they make their way through the left-hand, the whole field now comes roaring on through. As we do look to the blimp camera here, as they all start to concertina together in towards the chicane sequence. And as they make their way on through, a bit of side-by-side contact there between Altria and Akram Zoom, but Altria is holding position as they make their way on through. Further down the order, meanwhile, we see how everyone queuing up together. Harley Bicknell battling with Mark Sykes. Sykes trying to go around the outside in the AM battle for the lead of the AM class, but Sykes not able to find his way through. And meanwhile, Riley Sheringham making some great gains at the start, making more places as he takes the place of a Kevin Smith car, pointing the wrong way. It's Daniel Fritz, who's had a nightmare start to the race. And well, as we continue to focus here on Sheringham versus Wojciech Smith, as they drag race their way up the hill in towards turn number 6. We're making the way on through now. It's going to be Sheringham on the outside here. You have the brakes and the Honda, but I think that inside line's more important, and that's going to be what Smith prides himself on, and does exactly that as they make the way on down into the braking zone. And well, meanwhile, Luciano Witvoet trying to make some early gains. He's gained what is 3 places overall as he battles side by side with Lee Horn in the run down towards turn number 11. This is the fight between them for P20, and into turn number 11 they go. Witvoet still there, outside to inside. Horn not backing off either. A bit of contact between the two of them as they make the way across the timeline. It's going to be Horn ahead by nose, but meanwhile at the front of the field it is Swirydowicz who leads ahead of prime leader Fowler P2. Doble is in Joseph Doble P3 ahead of Falconer P4, followed by Doble and is in Mikey Doble P5, Gavin Garner P6, Jamie Dory P7, Ben Altria second place prime driver P8, Isaac Doble P9, and then we have Akram Zoom P10 completing your top 3 prime drivers, with what is Kieran Sharp Bester as P11. Harley Bicknell is your leading AM driver P21 still, but meanwhile Alex Meredith trying to make some progress, making a move versus Reese Watt into turn 3 as we understand it for NXTGEN, now up into its 4th place in the prime class. And as they make their way through the kink and on the rise up towards the highest point of the circuit, it's a drag race here. You can see the Audi coming on strong here. Now it's starting to get in towards its top gear, but meanwhile Meredith's not backing off as they make their way towards the left-hander. Already in lap 2 of 16. as they come down in towards the left handle. In the end, it's going to be Meredith who has to back out. Then 9, there's no real opportunity to try and make this work, but as they head down in towards the braking zone for turn at number 9. Well, Meredith's got the pressure, Jeffries and also McCluskey, but coming through left-hander and now into the right, into left chicane sequence. Meanwhile, some of the questions you may be asking are, who are the biggest gainers since the start of this race? Well, here is Gabriel Yilmaz. He's gained the best part of what is 11 places overall, 4 in the AM class since the start, moving from P44 to P33 on the grid, and I think steering clear of all the drama that we saw on the start with Luke Jones, who didn't seem to launch. A number of drivers careening into the back of his stricken car. We're going to get a replay of what exactly happened there very shortly, but right now the drivers all make their way onto their third lap of racing. Things are calming down to a degree, although I say that Smith versus Tillotson here. This is the battle for P5 in the AM class. Smith's ahead, Tillotson's behind, and Bradley Shedden falling a little bit off this battle. Mark Redford getting in between them, and as they make their way down towards turn 1, Smith now making some progress, 2 places gained in the AM class, and continues to push his way upwards, and the team will be very happy with that. Meanwhile, James Smith is down the rear of the picture on the inside of Roy Plummer there, and we're missing the front bumper is the Aztec Racing Machine. Car around us, Riley Sheringham going around at turn number 1. I suspect the exit curve there upsetting the suspension, the balance of the Honda, gets himself pointed back in the right direction, sure enough, and right now Plummer just trying to chase after Smadsenscow, who finds Chats Constantiu right in front of him, and the Aztec Racing driver trying to find his way through. But meanwhile, looking further up the order, we can see that Mikey Doble has just found his way past Patrick Falconer for P4 in the battle at the front as they make their way down towards turn number 11. Side by side they go between Falconer and Gardner. Gardner trying to pinch his way through but can't seem to do so. And as they make their way off the turn number 12, we jump on board here with Gavin Gardner as he looks to try and hustle his way into a top 5 finish. And the next gen pink driver right now running the car in all its glory and its pride as he makes his way in towards turn number 1. Onto lap number 4 they go. And well, the problem here now is that everyone's in the tow of one another, so there's no real gains or losses. It all comes under braking as they make their way into turn 1. Gardner taking a lot of apex curve there. You can see Falconer running very wide out of turn 1. That's going to upset the Audi, but it doesn't give Gardner an opportunity. He's just got to stay close and put the pressure on into turn number 4 as they make their way into left-hander, and so close right now as they exit the corner. Runs the car out as much as he can in terms of getting close to that exit wall, and as he powers his way out the gearbox, you see how the Audi's just able to gradually pull away, plus also Gardner having a little bit more success balancing the car compared to Falconer. That's a consideration. That weight will hold him down in the uphill acceleration zone in particular. That's exactly what you're seeing here as they make their way in towards turn number 6. Down they go at no change between these drivers, with Jamie Dory just behind, holding the station for Next Gen Pink behind his teammate, and they'll look for the big points in the team's championship just as much as they will with regards to the drivers' championship points. But meanwhile, as we look down here, side by side, almost between Cheverton versus Witvoet. Witvoet tries to look his way through. Meanwhile, Jegoslewski there in front, the prime driver under pressure, a P6 from Cheverton as they come on down in towards turn number 11. Cheverton looking around the outside. Can he find a move here as they make the way under braking? It looks though he's going to go all in from outside to inside. Jegoslewski stays on the inside. Outside he goes. Contact between the two of them. Cheverton's going to get on through. And well, I think Cheverton will argue squeeze towards the apex. I think Jegoslewski will argue you need to be given some room. Well, poor camera angle there doesn't give us any more information, but what it does do is show us the fact that Jegoslewski loses not just 1 but loses 2, 3 places as they make their way down towards turn 1. It's going to be free wide into the braking zone. Witvoet on the inside, but in the end down in back. So it's 2 by 2. Jegoslewski comes in roaring hot, and in the end catches the car on the rear bumper of Witvoet. It doesn't upset Witvoet, but it causes Jegoslewski to lose more time. And now here comes Joram Leaders. This is Bignell, P21 right now trying to look for an opportunity to get past Horn. Well, in fact, he's ahead of Horn. We should correct ourselves. He's trying to clear away from Horn and go after Jegoslewski, but given the fact that the cars in front are battling so hard, it's causing a huge concertina here. And as they make the way on the run up the hill, well, here comes Winers looking around the outside of Adam McNally as they try to battle their way in towards turn number 6. But the problem is in the fact that right now Winers on the outside line. McNally's got the speed, and even though he's got the weight, the Honda try is going to get ahead. And the time in as they come their way down through the left into right and then into the second left-hander at turn number 8, going harsh into the right angle to left-hander at turn number 9, and Winers now hands back off as meanwhile there's a run wide there from Sam Smith. And as they make their way in towards turn number 11, Will Smith right now going defensive. He's going to have McNally on his outside. McNally's going to go all in for the move. And can he make it happen? Yes, he can. Adam McNally takes Smith as they head out of turn number 12, and Smith's going to look to the inside, trying to get a sneaky move on turn number 13, and right now he's giving himself the room to play with, and that Elantra is going to have the overspeed here little by little. You can see how the Elantra is just able to pull more, as meanwhile Winers looking for a potential move. He's thinking about going free wide, but Winus in the end decides against it. And as they make the way in towards turn number 1, and McNally moving up to P11 in the prime class ahead of Smith and Winus, and Stuart Winus right now eager to try and make his way past Smith as well. As they head on through at turns 2 and 3. Meanwhile, looking back up the order, we have had a fall down the order for one of our drivers, and it's not for Eastwood who's got the pressure of Alex Meredith behind, but I do believe there's been a fall down the order for what is none other than Andrew Pike, who's lost some places only moments ago. We'll keep our eyes on that very shortly. In fact, we do have a replay coming up to explain what happened to Luke Jones at the start of the race, ladies and gentlemen, and well, we take a quick look back. And this was the race start. You're looking at the JW Motorsport Veloster in the centre of your screen. It stays stationary, and will the Ace of Spades racing car avoids, but meanwhile Sam Olsen immediately hitting the rear of Jones, and will everybody able to mostly part the seas after that, but Jones, it must have been a failure of the car, it just could not launch for some reason. Wayne Douglas leaving for the pit lane there, and well, deciding to take the safe approach, and it worked out, but for Jones, just not able to launch the car, and it all went wrong. And we can confirm, in fact, Isaac Doble was the driver who had to come into the pit, and we believe he's had to come into the pits due to damage to the car, and that's dropped Isaac Doble all the way down the order to P44, P16 Pro, but P44 more importantly overall, and well, that's been a very costly incident for Isaac Doble, which we haven't had on camera, but if we can get a replay of it, we will for you, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I say that, a replay is coming up right now as to what happened to Isaac Doble. So this was in the battle into turn at number 11, only was 2 laps to go. Contact there for Atkins, who looked on the inside, and Doble sent to the barrier as a result. And will the Doble Sim Racing drive Hansen creep the car to the pits in the end? But with a damaged suspension, that would have been very difficult to do, and that has cost him practically all the time in the race. But we're now back to your live pictures, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to push towards what will be the second half of the race shortly. As we do, we're looking here at Reece Watt, who's currently P11 overall, P4 in prime ahead of Alex Meredith, as he makes his way on down towards turn at number 11. Well, right now you can see Jack Jeffries just a little bit further back, looking for an opportunity to get involved in, try to clear both of the prime drivers. But meanwhile, up front, it is Wojciech Swirydowicz, who is storming away at the front. 6.5 tenths maybe the gap. It may not sound like much, but when he's got 56.1 kilograms of success ballast in that Audi, that is the equivalent of storming away here, as he's able to maintain that gap as much as possible. Russell Valley, your leading prime driver, is P2 just behind, with Joe Zado and Mikey Doe following them through. And as they make their way in towards turn at number 4, well, right now Mikey Doe looking to follow his brother on through the corners and make sure they can make it what is a great haul of points for both their drivers' championships and also the team's championship. But meanwhile, further back, Ben Altrier, they're putting off racing line, and I think trying to disrupt the toe slightly of Jamie Dory, who's trying to find his way on through. And remember, our prime snams are also battling for overall championship points here, so they've got a right to fight. But as he makes his way over the rise, Dory right now still there right behind, so close right now on the back of the Elantra in front of him. But the problem is he can get close, but he can't find a way through. You can see that Zanuna and Sharp starting to inch closer to this battle as they all make their way, rumping their way down through turn 7 through to 9. But Dory's still there waiting for an opportunity, but can't seem to find one at the moment. As they head in towards turns 11 and 12, going from right into left here. Meanwhile, we do look a little bit further down the order to Jack Jeffries, who's still trying to find his way past the 2 primes of Meredith and Watt in front, and Benjamin McCluskey is also waiting in the wings there. The Red Grove Project's driver, however, I think has got a little bit more pace on his fingertips, but he just can't find a way to deploy it at this time. As they head down at the start-finish straight, well, he's a bit closer this time to Meredith compared to the previous laps. 2 attempts is the delta. The 67 Elantra. We do know Jeffries can be very smart with the battling, and will decide to play it safe there and not look for a move this time into turn at number 1. But as he heads on through, we do look to the Aztec Racing driver of Matthew Sheraton, and as we can see in the 390, he's got the pressure of none other than Luciano Witvoet behind the battle for P16. As we say hello to Toby Prosso, who's cheering on the YouTube chat, Aztec Racing, and will Sheraton definitely enjoying a great result so far if he can bring this home. Still got quite a few laps to go, and indeed it's not over until they find that checker flag. And speaking of finding things, Lee Horn I think just found a bit of the barrier there coming out of turn number 4, and the next gen driver, he seems to be going okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the wind out the car. And well, behind him is the AM leader of Harley Bicknell, and Mark Sykes is not too far behind as they make the way uphill. And we're right on board looking back from the rear of Lee Horn's car here as they head in towards turn number 6, and Bicknell getting incredibly close, but right now in the back of as Horn makes his way down on the brakes into left-hander. And we can see the long line of cars all forming up behind Horn here as they make their way in towards turn at number 11. And as they make their way up towards the right into left chicane, Sykes still looking for an opportunity past Bicknell, who managed to sneak just ahead in qualifying and seems to be holding station just ahead at the moment. But as you can note there, Sykes right on the back of Bicknell through the chicane. He seems to be stronger at the chicanes compared to Bicknell, but Bicknell's got the better flow downhill through turn 6 through to 9, and that's the delta between them. But as they make the way onward towards turn number 1, meanwhile, Shane Piggott also there in the wings. The Ace of Spades racer driver, you can see looking up the inside of Sykes into turn 1. This is going to be for P22 overall. Sykes won't want to let this happen. He will not want to have space between him and his rival, but it's contact. He turns the barrier. Piggott rejoins. He collects the car back together. He comes back in. And will the path there, Adam McNally, is going to be a collision course, and it was contact between the two of them. And McNally's able to steer clear of it. Piggott loses another place. And right now, the Englishman is all out of sorts to Sam Smith. And Stuart Wyness are right behind him. And that could have been far, far worse. Well, for Mark Sykes, it was a nightmare mode, no doubt about it. And it's put him well outside of the top 3 of the AM class. He's down to P5 and P36 overall. But Piggott right now under pressure for his P11 in the Prime class as he tries to chase back after Adam McNally. But Sam Smith and Stuart Wyness is right hot on his heels. But meanwhile, in further drama, ladies and gentlemen, we've had Piotr Jegosleski, the Semper Racing driver, go wide out of turn number 9. That's dropped him 3 places down overall from P18 to P21, losing a place in Prime to Daniel Downing as well, who's taking P7 Prime now. Jegosleski has got Alan McCain right behind fellow Prime driver as they make the way onto lap number 11. And while the batting incredibly close between these drivers as they make the way onto the start-finish straight once again. But let's not forget, we've still got plenty of batting further down the order. In fact, Russell Fowler has recently lost P2 to Joseph Doble. That's been overall. And Mikey Doble's the next driver queuing up behind him. But will he be able to find a way through as easily? That'll be the question, if at all. Patrick Falcon is still there, and Gavin Gardner as well. As this top 6 right now separated by only a margin of weight, 3 seconds if that. And it's so close together. But Wojciech Swirydowicz gradually opening his lead up to a second now. And I think Wojciech Swirydowicz, unless he makes an error, will be controlling that gap to the end, given the pace he's demonstrated so far as they all weave and wind their way down to the next heavy braking zone. But as they do, we'll look back to Kieran Sharp, who follows on behind Jamie Dory, looking for an opportunity to get involved here as the Sim Racing Collector's driver makes his way out to left-hander. Dory goes a bit deep and will now looking for the move on the outside to inside run. But again, you can see how the Audi's just got the acceleration compared to the Honda, but this is where Sharp is able to come back strong. He's got the better leverage on the brakes. He's got to be careful of those raised curves. It upsets the Honda suspension and will just take it a bit of the exit curve there, cost him a lot of pace. And Dory's able to open up that gap by a 10th, if not 2, on the start finish straight down towards turn 1. Ben Aldrin, meanwhile, as we look backwards, there is what is your 3rd place Prime driver right now, still holding firm with 1.2 seconds over Reese Watt, the next Prime behind him. And as they head into turn 1, Sharp, I think, looking for another opportunity to go hunting after Dory. Be able to be wary of this man behind him. We're looking to try and poke his nose in for a higher overall finish. As they come on through turn 3 and in towards 4, Waldring gets in very close, and Sharp right now absolutely being pushed to the limit by his rival behind as they roar the way on the back straight. Meanwhile, we look down the order to Adam Delman versus Adam. Well, that is Adam McNally. That's Alan McCain. McCain defending on the inside into turn 4 in the Irish Esports Elantra. And the SO NXTGEN Gold car of Adam Delman, the Honda here, giving chase. And well, the two of them have shown you can go too wide for the slow chicane. But the question is right now, who's going to be leading out of these two in the run out of turn number 6 shortly as they make the way up towards the aforementioned corner. It looks as though it's going to be McCain, unless Delman can find a way alongside, but I don't think he can. I think the overspeed is in the favour of the iRacing Esports car, and indeed it is, as they make their way on down. But coming on down in towards the breakings over turn number 9, cars rejoin. Oh goodness me, that's drama in front, and Riley Sheringham definitely going slowly down the inside. That's Piotr Jegosleski, who I do believe has been caught up in the incident. Sheringham just trying to steer clear of the drama, but what exactly happened between the drivers, that's the big question, and particularly for Piotr Jegosleski. We'll try to find out very shortly if we can get a replay of the incident, ladies and gentlemen, but Jegosleski has had to be towed to the bits. We can confirm that, so it's been a nasty knock. Meanwhile, here's the battle for what is P10 in the Prime class, the final top 10 spot in the class between Sam Smith and Shane Piggott as they made their way down the start finish straight. The Ace of Spades racing drive on the inside of what is the Irish Esports driver Smith. And as they enter turn 1, well, it is going to be Piggott who takes it very calmly and coolly up the inside. But Smith's coming back into turn 2, but he can't quite find the move. As meanwhile, the track Scotland car Wine is still sitting behind. And well, the queue still forming up behind Adam McNally. And McNally showing no signs of wilting under the pressure here. But meanwhile, we take a look back at what happened to Piotr Jegosleski only a moment ago. This was coming down into turn 7 and 8. You can see Riley Sheringham on the inside. Jegosleski getting it wrong with his own volition, so I think Sheringham, who was a lap down, backing off there after an error, and Jegosleski just under braking the car going to the barrier. And how many times did we see that in qualifying from drivers? And another driver falling foul there at the turn 7-8 complex. And well, as we return to your live pictures, it's all kicking off live as well, and Sam Smith having to take evasive action. And well, I'm not quite sure what started that, but Adam McNally also there, I do believe, what was Excuse me, Smith, and also further incident for, I believe, what's Adam Down one being involved. So let's get a replay of that when we can. But Smith struggling there. There's damage to the suspension, and well, the Avalanche having to crawl to the pits, having to cut off the circuit, and we can see there Adam McNally coming through. I think both drivers carrying on, but how they're carrying on with the damage, I'm not quite sure, unless that was Smith giving the place back after contact for some description. But Smith is struggling here. I don't think that car is going to be getting to the end of the race, or if it is, it's going to be losing places by the dozen. Because Smith right now struggling to keep the car pointed in a straight line, let alone keeping it up to pace as they make the way into turn one. You can see it struggling under the brake. It's going to go straight on here, and well, wouldn't be surprised if Smith's going to get the call to the pits. But as he makes his way across the grass, meanwhile we look to what is Muscle Fritz chasing after Gabriel Yilmaz. Your P3 AM driver is Yilmaz from Aztec Racing, holding on to P28 right now as they make the way out to turn number 4, and as they roar their way up the hill, we can see there in the rear of the picture Riley Sheringham stepping aside from some drivers as well, being a lap down. Those blue flags very hard to respect, but doing his best to do so. And Yilmaz still staying clear of Muscle Fritz behind in the battle for P28 overall, and they're in a very solid race. There's no questions about it. As he heads on down in towards turn 7, 8 and 9, more roaring his way on down. You can see that slight error from the car, the Honda in particular, of Nick Klibbins. And Klibbins losing the rear of the car as he breaks his way into turn 9, and the rear of the car just snapping loose, and you could see it start as he came through 6, and in the iRacing Esports driver, another driver gets caught out by turns 7, 8 and 9, and well, it's definitely proven to be a tricky corner complex. Meanwhile, Mark Sykes, who foul much earlier of an instant out of turn number 1, battling his way past Roy Plummer to take P40 overall, but P7 in the AM class of his teammate, and looking to make further progress here with only what is 2 more laps to go. Plummer gets it wrong in the rear of the picture. More drivers getting it wrong there. Also, there's a car around. I do believe that is on the iRacing Esports cars getting it very wrong. I think that's Sam Smith again. It's all going so very wrong. But let's not forget the fact we've got battling here for Patrick Falconer as the car's gone straight on off our picture. But Patrick Falconer battling side by side here with Russell Fowler, and I believe that was Gavin Garner who just went straight on. So even more drama at turn number 9. But Patrick Falconer still by Russell Fowler, who's trying to hold on for P4 overall and an overall top 5 finish. But the white flag is out. It's the final lap of racing, our first race of the day. And well, John Meredith in the YouTube chat there saying it's bumper cars night, and indeed, but they're not bumping each other, they're finding ways of bumping the barriers. And as we see Falconer roaring his way on down, Angram's new 3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, in the rear of the picture, that's Gavin Gardner, who's rejoined in what is P8, and right now chasing after Jamie Dory, with Kieran Sharp on his inside. In towards the left hand they go, and Will Sharp here battling hard for position, and up the inside goes Alex Meredith, who looks at the move for P3 versus Ben Aldrin in the prime class. Side by side they go in towards the chicane, but Meredith's on the outside. Surely he's not going to commit it all the way through. He does. It's very close. They give each other the space, and Meredith now on the inside into turn 4. This is brilliant racing. Can Meredith finish the move? He can, and Alex Meredith, with a late move, takes P3 in the prime class. Ben Aldrin flashes lights there to distract as much as he can, but Meredith there making it absolutely smooth. It's a door-to-door racing, and that's what we love to see. But as they make the way up towards turn number 6, Ben Aldrin trying to come back with Benjamin McCluskey for company, and well, will McCluskey get involved? He's going to look up the inside. He's going to try and get involved. Oh, goodness me! Aldrin goes on, but as he goes on, meanwhile, this man goes on as he left off at Monza, and as he comes out of the final corner, he's got Joseph Doble half a second behind, but the white flag waves, the checker flag waves, and it's Wojciech Swirydowicz who takes the win in race number 1 here at Sandown, and a Joseph Doble with Mikey Doble making it to the podium. P3, Russell Fowler behind your prime winner, P4 overall header Patrick Falconer, Akram Snoon, your run-up in the prime class, P6. Jamie Dory comes on through for a P7 finish header, Kieran Sharp, Gavin Garner, Alex Meredith completes your top 10 overall, and your prime winner. And further down the order, ladies and gentlemen, we do have heading to line Daniel Down in P18 and Lee Horn, but Harley Bicknell returns to winning ways in the AM class with a P20 overall for JW Motorsport, and it's Alan McCain behind him. Jonathan Collins comes out the final corner, and he takes what will be his first AM podium of the season for Whiskey Runners Racing, and what a drive for him. P2 in the AM class, P27 overall, and Gabriel Yilmaz completes what will be your AM podium with a P28 there for Aztec Racing, just ahead of Mitchell West and Marcel Fritsch. Kevin Smith misses out on the AM podium, but takes the best result in the AM class so far of P4 or P31 overall, and James Spencer-Scow P33 behind him, separated by Mark Redford. We've still got some more drivers to finish their race, and we'll give them all a round of applause as they come through, ladies and gentlemen, including Mark Sykes as he makes his way to the timeline P39, and then it will be Daniel Fritz who comes on through to complete your top 40 for Whiskey Runner Racing on the home turf. It hasn't quite worked out in his first race today, but there's still 2 more to go, and he will be your last lead lap finisher, with Costa Chance Constantinou coming home at a lap down the end for Costa C Photography Racing on his debut, ahead of Sandown, Luke Jones, Riley Sheringham and Roy Plummer. And we do have a number of drivers in the pits as well for repair work, but an absolutely dramatic end to the racing in our first race of the day. And well, what a race it has been, no doubt about it. And we still got 2 more races to come as all our drivers make the way into the pit lane. And well, ladies and gentlemen, do let us know who caught your eye in race number 1 in the chat as we get ready to give you a recap of the results, subject to any stewards' inquiries, of course. But this Sandown circuit claiming even the tamest of drivers, and well, Craig Tillotson there enjoying his best result of the season so far with a P6 in the AM class as he makes his way towards the pit lane. The Fusion Racing driver P37, he'll be pleased with that, and then he's been able to finish ahead of some key championship belligerents, including Mark Sykes and also what was Roy Plummer. And well, as he makes his way to the pit, let's take you through those race results, subject to any stewards' inquiries. And as we can see, ladies and gentlemen, as the circuit falls ominously quiet for a brief moment after race number 1 of round 3 of season 6 of the NXTCC, powered by IMB Racewear and brought to you on iRacing, Wojciech Swirydowicz taking the overall win for Semper Racing by half a second over Doble Sim Racing's Joseph Doble. It was a double Sim Racing 2-3 with Mikey Doble taking the final spot on the overall podium, and then P4 overall, but Pro-Am winner, most importantly for him, Russell Fowler. P4 there for Performance Link Esports, and absolutely brilliant drive ahead of Patrick Falconer for JW Motorsport, who did well to keep Fowler under pressure, but didn't quite have enough in the tank to move him down the order. Falconers followed up by Akram Zanoon, your second place prime driver for the organisation, and then Jamie Dory for Next Gen Pink P7. It was a bit of a quiet race for him, albeit relatively quiet compared to Kieran Sharp, who managed to muscle his way up for the Sim Racing Collective past Next Gen Pink's Gavin Gardner on the final lap, and Alex Meredith completing a top 10 overall and the Pro and podium with it for Next Gen, and that prime podium being Fowler, Zanoon and Meredith. Benjamin McCluskey, best SP11 for Next Gen Pink, ahead of Red Grove Project's Jack Jeffries, with both drivers struggling to make progress after some early gains. Reese Watt, the JW Motorsport driver, a P13, P4 in the Prime class, he'll be pleased with that, as will Andrew Pike with a P14. It's a good start for the Sim Racing Collective driver. And then Ben Altrier rounding off what was your top 15 there in the prime class, albeit I think frustrated and losing multiple places after being passed by Alex Meredith on the final lap. But the full Tilt V Motorsport driver will know there's still 2 more races to go. Matthew Sheraton, P16, ahead of Luciano Witvoet, with Daniel Downing taking P18. And behind the Goldwyn Motorsport driver to complete your top 20, it was Lee Horn from Next Gen. And then your AM winner of what was JW Motorsport's Harley Bicknell, who returns to winning ways after taking the wins at Silverstone, but no results at all at Monza by comparison. And then Alan McCain at P21 for iRace Esports, ahead of what was Adam Delmont, with Shane Piggott for Ace of Spades Racing enjoying some great battling. And with that P23 result overall, taking a deserved P9 in the prime class. Stuart Winus and Jack Bolton completing your top 25 ahead of Adam McNally, with Jonathan Collins, the runner-up in the AM class of Whiskey Runner Racing, 7 seconds clear of your third place finish in the AM class of Gabriel Yilmaz for Aztec Racing, and completing your AM podium of Bicknell, Collins and Yilmaz. Congratulations to them. And then round off your top 30, it was none other than Mitchell West on home soil for Mitch West Performance, and Marcel Fritsch for WS Racing Esports. Kevin Smith finished behind the Austrian at P31 for Rhino Motorsport with a P4 and finish. He'll want more of that, as will Mark Redford and James Massengill with a P32, P33 finishes, and then Wayne Douglas and Matthew Addy completing a top 35. A further 3 seconds behind it was Isaac Doble, the Doble Sim Racing driver, having that visit to the pit lane, which cost him very dear, but still recovering to P36 on the back of the order midway through the race. That's still an achievement, with Craig Tillotson at P37 for Fusion Racing, just ahead of Nick Clemens at the line in what was a near photo finish between the two of them. And then your top 40 being rounded off by what was Mark Sykes and Daniel Fritz, with Mark Sykes having that unfortunate instant midway through the race and seeing him fall out of contention for the AM win. But from the Whiskey Runner Racing driver Daniel Fritz, we do see it finishing a lap down, the first of many a driver, including Costa Chats Continentu, P41, and behind him at Sam Van Alsten, Luke Jones, and Riley Sheringham, who finished P44 for Virtual Reality Autosports. 2 laps down to Roy Plummer, and also to Sam Smith. 5 laps down to Piotr Jegosławski with that major shunt into the barrier at turn at number 8, and Matt Emmons there. 13 laps down the end for Rhino Motorsport in a difficult first race of the day, and the same for Ian Manners and Slawomir Jawowski, with all 3 drivers there not making it over the halfway point and therefore classified as non-finishers. But that was our first race, ladies and gentlemen, and we've still got 2 more races to come. Indeed, the racing action came thick, it came fast, and we've got plenty more on the cards here in Australia at the Sandown International Motor Raceway. And well, without further ado, we're going to be taking a brief breather, but worry not, because we will be back for the build up to race number 2 in approximately 7 to 8 minutes time. So don't go anywhere, you won't want to miss it, because there's still plenty more of action to come from Australia. But just before we do step away, of course, a quick word from our title sponsor for the season, and that being IMB Racewear. We'll see you very shortly. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back then for the build-up to race number 2. And goodness me, what was race 1 all about other than some absolutely fast, furious and frantic racing in Australia? And we got to see some brilliant battling up and down the field. Whether it was the overall win from Wojciech Swirydowicz after sneaking off with the lead of the race, taking it from Russell Fowler going into turn number 1. Your prime winner, of course, Russell Fowler, who absolutely led the way in the prime class. Or whether we got to see further on down, Harley Bicknell return to AM victory and return to that top step, but not having to fight hard with Mark Sykes in the early stage of the race. But I suspect we've got plenty more to come in our second race of the day. And as all of our drivers get set and ready to go once again, it wasn't just about the winners as well. We got to see some great performances from the likes of Shane Pigg of Ace of Spades Racing further down the order, who definitely got to get his elbows out versus some of his prime rivals. And well, we also got to see in what was the AM class batting, which saw Jonathan Collins take on home a superb result for Whiskey Runner Racing, and with that result, his best result of the season so far, and he'll be looking, to try and find himself a little bit further up the order, once again looking to make it 2 podiums back to back. But will he be able to do so? That will be the challenge that confronts him, because he'll know a good number of drivers will be very eager to try and sneak their way ahead of him in the AM battle. But speaking of Jonathan Collins, I think we're going to try and stay up with the AM driver, perhaps get a quick word from him very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. So do give us a brief moment. We'll try and catch a word with the driver, who's definitely enjoyed a very strong opening to his evening of racing. And well, as we now try to catch him in what will be, our interviews, and do give us a brief moment. We'll try and catch a word from him as we try and get a patch through to the car of Jonathan Collins as he makes his way on down towards turn number 1. And well, as he heads in towards the braking zone here, we're going to try and catch him after he's made his way onto the next straight, just because I'm conscious of the fact we don't want to distract him whilst he's driving. And as he makes his way into turns 2 and 3, we'll have the opportunity very shortly to be able to catch a word with the 1, 2, 3 driver, and we'll come it on through as he makes his way to turn number 4. We're going to try and get a word with him now. As we do try to catch a word with him, Jonathan, do you have a moment for a quick chat live on air?
I do indeed.
Well, Jonathan, just want to say firstly, congratulations on your second place of the season in the AM class in our first race of the day. An absolutely solid result there. I mean, you probably can't believe how it worked out.
Well, honestly, looking back, I thought I was P1 until I looked at the results. So I was hoping if I'd have P1, cheering myself on, then realised that was P2, which, I'll still take for the first time ever.
Oh, that's absolutely fair. Given the spread of the field, it's understandable that you might have thought at first that you were the winner, but still, a P2's nothing to be down about, like you say. And, well, it looks as though you're feeling quite comfortable in the Velociter at this Sandown circuit.
Yeah, third season in, I thought I'll give it another go. I'm starting to feel nice and comfortable. I'm getting used to the brakes, getting used to the car, so up in air, innit? It's, yeah.
Well, very true. And what can we expect for you in race number 2 that's only a minute away?
Hopefully much of the same. Carnage again, and just pick my way through the field.
Well, we look forward to plenty more for yourself, Jonathan. But until then, we'll leave you to it, and good luck in race number 2.
Thank you, Paul.
So hearing there from Jonathan Collins, our second place AM driver, and interesting to hear his perspective there with regards to what was thinking he'd taken the win, only to find out he hadn't in fact taken the win. And we'll understandable there, given the fact that our drivers have a limited amount of data available to them in the cars, and it's normally the team principals who have to feed the information on through. But expecting much of the same in race number 2, and we look forward to seeing whether he can definitely recreate that. And well, as we get set now, ladies and gentlemen, we are only moments away, and we say hello in the YouTube chat there to what is Super Riley 10, or Riley Sheringham, who talking about his experience in race number 1, a few off-track to tell racing. Well, Riley, we're very happy to see you keeping your stiff upper limit and keep it on going. There's no doubt about it, and we look forward to plenty more from you in our second and third race of the day. And like Cart in the YouTube chat says there, well, it's not too bad. You had multiple offs. You see it off there for Russell Fowler. Even the best in the prime class get it wrong. But who's going to get it right, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's time for race number 2. So as our drivers make their way onto the grid, this is how they'll line up for our second race of the day. Wojciech Swirydowicz takes pole position for Semper Racing, carrying on from where he left off at the end of race 1, and is joined on the front row by Joseph Doble for Doble Sim Racing. We'll then have on row number 2 Mikey Doble, the Doble Sim Racing driver, ahead of prime pole sitter Russell Fowler for Thornsling Esports. On row number 3, it's going to be the pairing of Patrick Falconer for JW Motorsport and Akram Zanoun for the organisation. Keep your eyes out for Zanoun. We reckon he's going to try and hustle what will be Fowler into turn 1, given the pace he showed in what was our first race of the day. And then Jamie Dory for Next Gen Pink lines up P7, joined by Kieran Sharp for the Sim Racing Collective on the 4th row. Your top 10 is completed by Gavin Gardner for Next Gen Pink and Next Gen's Alex Meredith, with Benjamin McCluskey Bester SP11 for Next Gen Pink ahead of Redgrove Project's Jack Jeffries, who'll be looking to make progress from the start. We'll then have on row number 7, Respot for JW Motorsport and Andrew Pipe for the Sim Racing Collective. When Ben Altria started P15, he could finish much higher up the grid given his pace today, but can the Full Tilt V Motorsport driver tilt his way forward, or will he find himself being brought into the grasp of what is Aztec Racing's Matthew Sheraton, who starts P16 alongside him? Luciano Witvoet, another driver out of position after race 1 for World of Racing. Look for plenty from him in this race. Starts P17, head of Daniel Downing, with the Goldwing Motorsport driver followed up by the pairing of Lee Horn from Next Gen and JW Motorsport's AM pole sitter Harley Bicknell, who completes your top 20. Row 11 goes to Alan McCain for iRacing Esports and followed up there by SRL and Next Gen Goals Adam Delmont. Then we have Shane Piggott starting P23 for Ace of Spades Racer there, Stuart Winus for Track Scotland. More fighting from them in this second race. And then we do have on row 13 Jack Bolton for Grant Motorsport and Adam McNally for SRL with Next Gen Goal. With the Ampere of Jonathan Collins for Whiskey Runner Racing and Aztec Races Gabriel Yilmaz line up together on row at number 14. There's going to be some sparks between them into turn 1, as there will for Mitchell West for Mitch West Performance and Marcel Fritsch for WS Racing Esports. Behind the Austrian will be Kevin Smith for Rhino Motorsport, started P31, Mark Redford for Company P32, and from the privateer it's the Aztec Races James Smestersgale starts P33, with Wayne Douglas P34 for Next Gen Pink, having started from the back in race number 1 in the pit lane. He's made some progress and we're looking for more in this race. Matthew Addy starts P35 for Next Gen, head of Isaac Doble for Doble Sim Racing, and then we have on row number 19 Craig Tillerson for Fusion Racing and Nick Clemens for iRace Esports. And then we will complete your top 40, the Ampere Mark Sykes for Next Gen and Daniel Fritz for Whiskey Runners Racing. And I suspect Mark Sykes is going to be one of those drivers in the AM class to watch out for, given the fact he's got leading pace, but he's out of position after that incident in race number 1. Costa Chats Continental starts P41 for Costa C Photography Racing ahead of Goldwing Motorsport's Sam Van Olst, with Luke Jones and Riley Sheridan for JW Motorsport and Virtuality Autosports respectively on row number 22. Row 23 goes to Roy Plummer and Sam Smith for Next Gen iRace Esports. And it's Simper Racing's Piotr Jegoslavski. After repairing the car from race 1, they've got it back on the grid for race number 2. And the same for Matt Emmons from Verano Motorsports, who starts P48. And then we will have on what will be our final row of the grid starting P49 in manner to JW Motorsport. 49 drivers on the grid in this race, ladies and gentlemen. They're all absolutely itching to go, and well, let's not hold them any further, because as we look down to the front of the field, it's Swirydowicz versus Joseph Doble, and well, they'll be looking to get the launch of one another, but who will be the leader come the run to turn number 1? It's a short run, but it's an enticing one, and they'll both be eager, but keep your eyes out for Mikey Doble, who starts behind Swirydowicz as the lights are going on, and well, who's going to be leading come the exit of 4? There's 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for our second race of the day. Swirydowicz getting a good start. Everyone's away this time as they make their way down towards turn 1. And as they head on down, you can see Swirydowicz immediately taking track position, but it's 3 wide with Mikey Doe losing out there versus Patrick Falconer through the opening corner initially, but built up in the inside phase. And as they make their way towards turn number 2, Akram's doing a bit of contact now. I believe there's been further contact down the order. Indeed, there's drama further down as multiple drivers going around there at turn 1. They seem to be gradually clearing, but as all the field comes on through, well, now everyone settles in. But what exactly's happened is it's 2 by 2 by 2 into turn number 4, and as they exit, there'll be some semblance now of a line of cars. Alex Meredith seems to have made his way to P7. Russell Fowler has had a nightmare start to this race, dropping down to P8. I believe he was the one who was turned sideways at turn 1, but recovered the car in the exit curve, but he's fallen on down as they made their way to turn 6. And we said that Akramson would go for the move into turn 1, and it seems though they've both had some contact from what we've seen as they make their way down through turns 7, 8 and in towards 9. Cold tyres and cold brakes this time around. That's going to make these cars very dicey, but it looks like everyone now starts to build up some momentum. The Stuart Winus trying to go around the outside there of what is Adam McNally, but in fact McNally's taking the place of Winus, and Winus is trying to come back now on the run through the king of turn number 10 in towards 11. They go side by side. Winus on the inside there, right into left. It's going to get tyres 3 wide. Oh my goodness! And well, Daniel Downing, they're going slowly, not quite sure what caused it to lose the pace. Perhaps a car slowing down in front, but in the end, 3 does not go into one of the apex of turn 12. And well, there, Stuart Winus in the end, found himself right in the middle of what was a free wide that had nowhere to go, and down he's gone around as a result. But after one lap of race, and they made their way onto lap number 2, and leading is Wojciech Swirydowicz and Joseph Doble, followed by Mikey Doyle P3 as they started. Patrick Falcon P4 ahead of prime leader Akram Zanoon P5, Kieran Sharp P6, second place prime P7 Alex Meredith, and a Jack Jeffries, then Benjamin McCluskey, and in completing a top 10, third place prime driver Russell Fowler, but Matthew Sheraton all over the back of him as they make their way in towards turn number 6 for the second time of asking, and as they roar their way up the hill, we can see that Sheraton right now itching, looking left, right, centre, you name it, he's looking for an opportunity, and Fowler, with the extra weight in the car, the 32.5 kilograms of success pass, he's just got no speed to battle here, and Sheraton's just able to sail through, and I think Fowler right now is going for damage limitation first and foremost. You can understand why, given the fact I think he's worried about the more places he'll lose by fighting, as Reespot goes around there on the exit at 9, a couple of drivers having to take evasive action, but the JW Motorsport driver rejoins on his inside is Alan McCain, and McCain's not going to waste any time in looking for an extra place if he can take it, as he moves up the inside of P20 or what is P7 of the prime class, and as they make their way from right into left, roaring onto the straight, Russell Fowler's into the pits. I think him going slowly was damaged there, not just the fact that he's got the weight in the car. I think Fowler's having some repair work done, as we've also got a driver leaving the pit lane now. I believe that is none other than what is Matthew Addy leaving the pit, and well, Matthew Addy's run of bad luck this season continues to follow him from venue to venue, no doubt about it. But as our drivers made their way through, Luciano Witvoet gaining 2 places at the start of this race. He's up to P15 from P17. Look at the move of Jamie Drury, who's one of the biggest losers since the start in terms of places lost. And as I head in towards turn at number 4 and out of it, Luciano Witvoet, the Dutchman, absolutely flying right now, looking for some more ground before the race is done. As I head up the hill, meanwhile we look back up to what is Alex Meredith, who right now forming a little bit of a line of cars behind. As you can see there, Jack Jeffries almost pushing him along, albeit no bump drafted here as far as we're aware, but as they come down, that's what it looks like given how close he's running. But Meredith not quite the pace of the top 6, and Jeffries right now close, but not close enough to really adventure for a move. But a bit of drama further down the order. We've had Adam Delmont go around. I think Delmont's into the barrier. There he is in the distant camera, and well, what's gone wrong for Delmont? The car is broken there. Indeed, the bonnet's come off, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the toe to the pit. But for Adam Delmont, it's a nightmare start to his second race of the day. But looking at from him, we look back to leaders here as they make their way onto another lap. Onto lap 4 they go, and as they head into turn number 1, with Swirydowicz got a good start off the line. But right now you can see that the Doble brothers of Joseph and Mikey are closing, with Patrick Falcon and P4 there with them, and this top 4 is starting to gravitate together. And could we see a little bit of close action between them at the midpoint of this race? My gut feeling says yes. You see Joseph Doble there having to snatch the car away from the exit barrier. I think thinking he's going to head towards it, but as they made their way up towards turn at number 6, this top 4 gradually creeping off. Akram Zanoon, the prime leader, still with them. But the question many of you may be asking is, what exactly happened to Russell Fowler on the opening lap? Will we take a look back at the race start? And we're going to look at this from the onboard of Akram Zanoon. Now you'll know that Russell Fowler's positioned in front of Zanoon here, starting P4, so a good launch race at Zanoon. Albeit, look at that from the JW Motorsport car. Patrick Falcon are getting a golden start, and was they made their way into turn number 1. Zanoon looking on the inside. Oh, he's got the inside line contact there with what was Fowler, and Fowler IMB turns sideways, collects the car together, but I suspect the contact led to enough damage. And further on down the order, meanwhile, we had quite the cascade for our drivers in towards turns 1 and 2. And Mitchell West getting caught up in all of the action there. But what exactly happened to Mitchell West? Well, we take a look now back from Mitchell West's perspective, looking from the exterior cameras as they got underway, and this way explain the story. And as they made their way down the start-finish straight, well, car going slowly there, that was the car of Kevin Smith and Brano Motorsport. West getting a great launch off the line. 3 wide, however, with Gabriel Yilmaz, and also there, I do believe, Wayne Douglas into the braking zone, backs out. Contact there from Yilmaz onto Mark Redford. Redford's pushed across the road. West is turned inwards by a driver. We can't quite discern who. So a bit of drama there as West was just trying to be cautious, and will turn 1 at Sandown, claiming many a victim there. Also, it went a bit wrong for was Craig Tillison, who had to rejoin, but we return to your live racing pictures. No safety cars, given the fact the road was cleared very quickly after the cacophony of collisions at turn 1. And when we look here at your race leader, still Wojciech Swirydowicz, he comes down in towards turn number 9. As he comes up through the left hand and looking from the leaders, we've also got some battling further on down as Matthew Sheraton, being passed there by Gavin Gardner for P10 overall. The Aztec Racing driver currently P3 in the prime class. Looking to make further progress in the chase of Alex Meredith, who's just cut past our cameraman. But right now the Aztec Racing driver having to deal with the pro drivers who are trying to pick their way one by one through as they make their way through right into left. But as they do, or meanwhile, we look back to leaders here as we've got a change for P2. And this is Mikey Doe, Joseph Doe swapping places. And we're a bit telegraphed there into turn one. But I think the gut feeling here is that Mikey is the faster driver at this point of the race. Patrick Falconer getting close down the back of Joseph. And well, it does seem as though the JW Motorsport driver was looking for an opportunity to capitalise, couldn't quite get it right, and therefore the Double Sim Racing team making the swap absolutely pinpoint precise to perfection as they head on down the back straight, running wide there, sliding the rear pitch with Kieran Sharp as the Sim Racing Collective Honda right now, the sole Honda inside where's the top 10 struggling on here. And what we did see Andrew Pyatt mentioning in the YouTube chat earlier about how much they're struggling in the Honda at the moment, the Sim Racing Collective, and that definitely being materialised given the gulf of the delta that's appearing between the top 5 and our 6th place driver who's all by his lonesome. As he makes his way down through turns 7, 8, 9, perhaps the tyre where will go his way later on in the day. We look to your AM leader here. We haven't really talked about the AM class since the start of this race. Harley Bicknell still leading, gaining what is 3 places overall since the start, and we're up to P17. He'll be very pleased with how his progression is being made so far, as the JW Motorsport driver here has the company of Alan McCain and also Stuart Blindness behind him. But your next AM driver is James Smansisgow in the rear of the pitch. They're battling with Isaac Doble. Remember, Isaac Doble had to start a long way down the order, and right now Smansisgow tries to hold on. Will Clemens versus Doble. There's Wayne Douglas looking around the outside to inside as that Audi has definitely got the damage marks and where it made contact into turn 1 on lap 1. As they head in towards another lap, well, Isaac Doble right now falling further down the order, and Will Douglas making his way up through. As meanwhile, Daniel Fritz, currently P3 in the AM class, looking for an opportunity and looking to recreate the heroism of what was his teammate of Jonathan Collins in race number 1 by making it back-to-back podiums for Whiskey Runners Racing. But Daniel Fritz right now 9, he's got to take his time, and Mark Sykes getting closer as well. And the only thing between the two of them there is Luke Jones and the JW Motorsport Veloster. They've been able to get that car running after the technical issues in race number 1, which saw it stuck on the grid. And was he heads in towards turn number 4. Well, right now the Welshman here, I think he'll be trying to target just getting clear of this group and going hunting after Nick Clements, but he's got to where Barcel Fridge, who's 2.7 seconds behind and is closing quite rapidly as the WS Racing Esports driver makes his way up towards turn number 6. As they head up the rise and in towards the left-hander very shortly. Meanwhile, from them, Russell Fowler looking for an opportunity to make his way to P32 past Matt Emmons, looking up the inside here, and well, will he go all the way in the move after the repair work? He does. It's a brave move from Russell Fowler. He goes for it. Emmons gives him the space to work with, and well, there is a compliant moment for Matt Emmons in the fact that I think not wanting to risk the contact, given that Emmons right now in a bit of a different race of his own, P5 in the AM class, and he'll be happy to finish there to take those points in his debut races. But meanwhile, there's been a coming together, and that is Wayne Douglas, who I think has been a coming together of Isaac Doble by looks of things. He's definitely been turned around, but what's the story is the big question. Daniel Downing sees him rejoining there, looks up the inside as the Goldwyn Motorsports driver, the prime driver on the inside still as they make the way down towards turn number 1 and heading all the way down towards the braking zone. Downing still ahead. Douglas meanwhile try to look around the outside, but I think this corner is going to be Downing's unless Douglas can outbrake him, and in the end Downing getting it late on the brakes as well, is still trying to go through. The elbows out there, and Douglas in the end being elbowed wide. Won't be too happy about that, but I think right now Downing eager not to lose any more places given the fact since Monza it's all been downhill. But as they head in towards turn number 4, meanwhile take a look back at what exactly started this off, and it was Wayne Douglas versus Isaac Doble, and well, there's the contact between the two wide into 11, and in the end Douglas coming across the front of Doble's car, and well, Doble turned into the grass, and both of them making their way in haste to the green stuff. But in the end Douglas had to rejoin, and almost Daniel Downing comes straight into the scene of the incident. But as we return to your live racing pictures, ladies and gentlemen, well, that explains the incident on lap number 7 there. Meanwhile, looking a little bit further up the order, back to Alex Meredith, as right now he battles with Benjamin McCluskey into turn 1. McCluskey looking in the move as they go on to lap number 9 of 16 in the second race of the day. Side by side they go in towards turn ends 2 and 3. And right now McCluskey just staying up one step ahead. I think feeling positive here. He's getting exactly what he needs to get done. As now for the next gen driver, he'll be looking to chase after Jack Jeffries. Alex Meredith, meanwhile, losing the place overall, but knowing still he's P2 in the prime class, and he's not losing anything by losing the place overall, other than some overall championship points. But meanwhile, further on down, as Reeswo's gone wide, and turn number 4, and Sam Renault's coming through the Belgian driver as Watt has picked up sizable damage. I think that's the exit curve at turn number 4 that's caused that to the JW Motorsport driver's car, but he's struggling along, and Sam Renault's has got Adam McNally for company just behind as they make the way up the rise in towards turn number 6. We ride on board here with the Goldwing Motorsport machine as it comes down through the left-hander, and Renault's right now looking to be in control for the time being, but the problem he does have in his mind, I would understand, is the fact that Adam McNally is looking eager to try and make some further progress, and well, the number 92 driver here, given how his season has started, he won't want to yield whatsoever as they go right to left through turns 11 and 12, and you can see the difference in approach here. The Honda faster through the corner so long as it doesn't touch the curbs. Meanwhile, Renault's trying to get the power down as succinctly as he can as he makes his way onto the start finish straight, roaring on down. Riley Sheringham being passed, and well, he'll be, I believe, backing off there due to blue flags into turn number 1 and not intervening in this battle as Renault is just able to open up the gap as they make the way on and through the opening corner. Meanwhile, we do look a little bit further down the order to Daniel Fritz, who's now got the company of Mark Sykes in the battle for P2 in the AM class here. Harley Bicknell's a long way up the road, but Sykes not going to let it turn, and Daniel Fritz is going to look to hold on for as much as he can as they head in towards turn number 4. And will the Whiskey Runner Racing drive, whether it finishes P2 in class or P3, it'll still be a season best performance. James Mansfield fell out the lead of this battle for P2 in the AM class. We're not quite sure what's happened to the Aztec Racing driver. We know the outcome, and as they make the way on up the back straight here with Fritz right now on home territory, that's going to give him an extra 5%. It always does for the home racing drivers, and we're coming in towards turn at number 6 with right now the 43 driver just trying to hold on to the flash of lights there from Sykes, trying to use every rule in the book to distract, but Fritz not falling for it as they make the way out of turn number 9, and the exit there from the Alanche, you can see how it just pulled off the apex absolutely smoothly, and therefore able to open up a little bit of breathing room between himself and the Audi of Sykes, and that Audi still very threatening. In fact, getting the better exit out of turn number 12 is Sykes as they make that to the start finish straight. This is going to be close now as we lose the front bumper of the Audi underneath the camera angle here that we have from Fritz's car, but as they make the way in towards turn number 1, it's going to be Sykes on the inside, Fritz on the outside. This is a P2 in the M class as they onto the brakes. Sykes goes all in, and in the end Fritz hasn't got enough on the brakes to try and hold on, and Mark Sykes comes on through to take P2 in the M class, and it's a strong recovery drive, and I think it's one that's it's completed, given the fact that it is the best part of what is 6 seconds to Harley Bicknell, your AM leader up the road. But Sykes right now will focus on just trying to take a few more overall places and potentially get himself into the eligible position to the reverse grid, which can be anywhere between P13 and P23, of course. But meanwhile, this is Matthew Sheraton battling with Gavin Gardner as these two fight for what is P10. It's Sheraton trying to get ahead of Gavin Gardner here. He's made the move in towards turn at number 9. Gardner's still down the inside of turn number 12, however, still battling. And well, Sheraton's got one thing on his mind. He wants to go hunting after Alex Meredith. Gardner's got one thing on his mind as well, which is he wants the overall points. Both drivers here have got their own politics to play at, but neither one of them is able to break clear of the other right now. And as the great debate who's going to be leading comes on down the start finish straight, we're going slowly. There's Kevin Smith on the blue flags. It's going to be Luciano Witvoet in the rear of the picture trying to look for a move. Here goes Benel Trier on the inside. It's going to be 3 wide, and Benel Trier comes in like a missile. He makes it count, however. He manages to stick the landing, and as they make the way towards turn number 2, battling with Witvoet all the way through, and the full Torby Motorsport driver under huge pressure here as they come into turn number 4, and he's got his own game to play, which is to try and close up to Meredith and Sheraton. He wants a shot on the prime podium, and that's why he's very eager to find his way past Pike and Gardner, but wasn't quite able to find it there. Witvoet right now holding on behind, so is Dory. Lee Horn is closing up as they make the way on the rise, and as they do, will we ride on board and look over the nose of the next gen pink car. Jamie Dory is the Audi, following in the footsteps of Witvoet. Witvoet trying to get his nose in on Trier, trying to unsettle the prime driver into the most difficult section of corners on the circuit. But Trier not falling foul of the potential fake out there from Witvoet, and in the end just holding his line as they make the way through the kink of 10. On towards 11 they go, and as they do, Dory still itching, looking for a move, but can't seem to find it. As they come through turns 11 and 12, the drivers right now nose to tail as they roar the way onto the start finish straight to go on to what is lap number 13. And as they build their way up through the gearboxes, we will see that right now for Dory it's all about just waiting to see whether an opportunity arises. We can at the back of this pack, and everybody's in the toe of each other. He doesn't really gain on the straights. Instead, he's just got to wait and see what he can make happen in the corners here. As Ultria goes a bit deep, Dory follows on through. Witvoet, meanwhile, having a better run through one, but he's on the outside into two, and Ultria right now absolutely making that Elantra as wide as humanly possible. You can see how he started to lose Pike in front here, and Witvoet and Dory will not want this to be playing out. They'll want him to work with them in order to close up, but Ultria's got other ideas as they make the way on the run up towards turn number 6. Charging the way up the hill they go, and as they do, well, meanwhile we look up to Jack Jeffries, who's right at the tip of the spear of this group of cars. The Red Grove Project driver is closing little by little, and Kieran Sharp, he's brought the gap down from what was 3.7 seconds down to 2 seconds with only 3.5 laps to go. I think he'll feel as though he can still make some further progress, but he's got Benjamin McCluskey behind, who's been unleashed onto him after passing Alex Meredith, and Will McCluskey looking very friendly as they come in towards 11. But can he find a way in? It doesn't look as though he can right now, albeit the tide could turn here as they make the way out of turn number 12. Jeffries runs slightly wide, and that's going to give him a little bit of speed. That may give him a warning from our track marshals as they make the way down towards turn 1. But McCluskey there, getting closer and closer. It's a 10th now. They're halfway down the straight, heading towards turn number 1. Onto the brakes they'll go, and as they do, McCluskey pulls the inside. Jeffries on the outside here. He'll look the run to defend to the inside of turn number 2. Cuts it back, in fact. McCluskey goes deep, but can Jeffries get all the way round there to turn number 2? It's a brave cut back there for Jeffries, but I think McCluskey's has shut the door, and indeed he has, and the next gen driver moves up to P7 overall as Jeffries now tucks in behind. Now he's got to try and find another way to get the place back. The cutback wasn't successful, but as they head on up the back straight, well, here comes Jeffries once again as we ride on board with the 67 driver. The Elantra absolutely full tilt right now versus the sister Hyundai car, albeit it's got the straight line speed here, but the worn tyres will start to come into effect. McCluskey defending in the middle of the road. Jeffries thinking about a move to the inside, can't quite do it. Tapers too close to the apex. Leslie has to sit back and wait for an opportunity, but McCluskey right now will absolutely need to make sure that velocity is as wide as humanly possible to keep Jeffries behind, because Jeffries is not one to give up in the fight, there's no doubt about it, as they head in towards turns 11 and 12. As they make the way on through with the pressure of Alex Meredith behind, we've got Kieran Sharp, who's in to the pits and leaving the pits at the moment. I believe some quick repair work on the car, while drivers heading onto their penultimate lap of racing. And as they do, well, further down the order, we've got some progress being made by what is Reese Watt, who's made his way into P22. He's got what is in front of him Harley Bignell, the fellow JW Motorsport driver, and I would imagine they'll swap places here, given the fact that Watt's got the faster pace, being the Prime versus his AM teammate, and well, you can see that being played out in fashion as they make the way on down. The Audi just gradually building up some speed, but meanwhile, Mark Sykes battling side by side here with James Smatsisgale, and we're not quite sure what's led to Mark Sykes falling down here, but right now they're fighting for the final AM spot in terms of the AM podium positions, we should say, in the battle for P28 and Smatsisgale on the offensive. Sykes having to go on the defensive here into turn 1 in the battle with the Audis. Behind him is Russell Fowler, the Prime driver, will be looking to come on through, given his relative pace, but Sykes right now definitely under major pressure to finish on the podium, and well, we thought the recovery drive was complete after he passed Daniel Fritz, but it wasn't to be, and Whiskey Runners Racing could be of course right now for being back-to-back second place finishes. But meanwhile, further out the order, Jack Jeffries has fallen a long way down, and in fact we can see Jeffries here has fallen behind what is both Cheverton and Gardner, as meanwhile behind us Pike on the inside of Meredith, and Meredith has lost out versus Cheverton in fact, as they make the way on through. White flag is waving, not meaning it's the final lap coming up, ladies and gentlemen, but what exactly has happened to lead to all this, we're not quite sure, but I suspect we'll get a story very shortly on this. But before we do, we're not going to cut away because it's 3 wide down the start finish straight, and in fact we're going to stay focused on this now, as it's going to be Witvoet on the inside, Meredith in the middle, and Pike on the outside. They go onto the brakes, it's a reverse Moses manoeuvre, but Pike says no you don't, and as he tries to go through, he's elbowed out there by Witvoet, who looks onto the inside into turn at number 2, and Pike now goes defensive versus Meredith. Meredith's made to mount the curve, so we're doing the suspension. Good, Ultria's on the inside, Ultria launches it out the inside into turn number 4, and Meredith falls down the order like a stone, being bruised and battered about, and right now Ultria takes wins the final podium position of the Prime class as they make their way up towards turn number 6. As they do, Ben Ultria's got on his inside. What is there? Jamie Dory is looking for an overall position as they head over the rise and downhill, and Dory makes the move count. But from then we look to your race leader, ladies and gents, because he comes out of the final major corner. He took the win in race number 1, and after being put under pressure from Double Sim Racing, he's going to take the win in race number 2, because Wojciech Swirydowicz takes the checker flag for Semper Racing ahead of Mikey Doble and Joseph Doble. Patrick Falco will take P4 ahead of Prime winner P5 at Crimson for the organisation. A stellar drive, and then it will be Kieran Sharp in the lonely P6 ahead of Benjamin McCluskey with Matthew Sheraton P8, but second place in the Prime class for Aztec Racing. Gavin Garner and Jack Jerry's complete your top 10 ahead of Luciano Witvoet, Andrew Pike, Jamie Dory and Ben Altria, who held on the end for the final Prime podium position for Full Tilt V Motorsport. In that last gasp move versus Alex Meredith, he made it happen. Lee Horn P15 ahead of Alex Meredith P16. Harley Bicknell comes on through to make it another AM win. 2 wins out of 2 in the AM class so far here today in Australia, with Daniel Fritz on home soil taking his first ever AM podium for Whiskey Runners Racing, and carrying on from where Jonathan Collins left off in race number 1. It's another P2 for the team at the hands of Daniel Fritz this time, and Mark Sykes rounds off the AM podium, holding off James Francisco to the finish for P28 for Next Gen, and making that recovery drive to the podium count. We've still got some more drives to finish the race, including Wayne Douglas, P35 as he comes out the final quarter, and I do believe your final lead lap finisher very shortly will be none other than Roy Plummer, who will be coming on through to take what will be P36, with quite a few drives finishing a lap down or retiring from the race, ladies and gentlemen. But Roy Plummer will take P6 in the AM class for that P36 overall, and I get the feeling he'll be pleased with that, and that'll be some major points. But as our race winners overall coming into the pits, and Wojciech Swirydowicz leading the field, and in what a drive from our championship leader going into tonight, and I think that championship lead firmly staying in his hands at this rate or not, and the Semper Racing driver is showing exactly what you need to do in the Audi RS3 to make it 2 wins out of 2. But as Art Cramsanoon's also made his way into the pit lane, and indeed many of our drivers coming on down pit road very shortly, and we'll hear is Harley Bicknell your AM winner for JW Motorsport. Can anybody stop him when he's in the zone? The answer seems to be no today, it must be said. We are seeing, much like a Silverstone National, him dominate proceedings, and meanwhile for one driver will be absolutely fuming after what happened at turn 1 between himself and Art Cramsanoon. Russell Fowler recovering to P29, but knowing a P13 in the Prime class is not going to be anything like what he expected. Matt Emmons, P33, he'll be happy with his first top 5 in the AM class. The Verona Motorsport driver on his debut today, and what a great result there. And as he comes on through, that will be all the drivers into the pits, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, it's time for us to take you through those race results, subject to Eddie Stewart's inquiries. And as we can see, after an absolutely incredible second race of today, carrying on from where race 1 left off, no doubt about it, Wojciech Swirydowicz taking 2 wins overall out of 2 for Semper Racing by 7.5 tenths over Doble Sim Racing's Mikey Doble and teammate Joseph Doble, who made it another 2-3. Patrick Falconer, P4 there for JW Motorsport in another solid top 5 finish for the 96 driver, really coming on in his stride at the moment. And Ant Cramsanoon, your pro and winner for the organisation, he'll be absolutely pleased with that. Indeed, making amends for what happened at Monza last week. Kieran Sharp, P6 for the Sim Racing Collective ahead of Benjamin McCluskey, with the Next Gen Pink Tri having to work hard to take that P7 and didn't have enough time to chase down the Sim Racing Collective Honda. But he did keep at bay Matthew Sheraton, your runner-up in the Prime class, P8 overall, with the Aztec Racing driver heading home. That P8 ahead of Gavin Garner for Next Gen Pink and Red Grove Project's Jack Jeffries, with Jeffries taking the final spot inside the overall top 10. Luciano Witvoet, P11 there, the Dutchman for World of Racing, with some brilliant batting right at the end, but couldn't quite find his way into the top 10. But it does mean for him he goes into the final race of the day without success ballast, and he's definitely going to be one to watch out for, depending on where the reverse grid positions him. And Andrew Pike, P12 there for the Sim Racing Collective, the struggle in the Honda goes on, but another top 15 finish and some key overall points. Jamie Dory, Ben Altria and Lee Horn completing your top 15 overall, with Ben Altria being your 3rd podium finisher in the Prime class of Full Tilt V Motorsport, completing that Prime podium of Zanoon, Sheraton and Altria. And outside the top 15, Alex Meredith being bruised and battered down to P16 in the final few laps, but will only galvanise him going into the final race of the day for Next Gen. Head of Goldwyn Motorsport, Sam Van Alst, with Track Scotland's Stuart Wyness taking what was P6 in the Prime class. A good result there and some great points coming on through the Scotsman. Alan McCain and Reese Watt completed your top 20 ahead of Adam McNally, P21 for SRL Next Gen Gold. Harley Bicknell, P22 there, back-to-back and wins for JW Motorsport so far today, ahead of Isaac Doble, with Luke Jones and Daniel Fritz completing your top 25. Speaking of Daniel Fritz, a stellar moment for the Australian driver in the fact taking his first ever AM podium, and the Whiskey Runner Racing driver mimicking what his teammate Jonathan Collins was able to do in race number 1 by taking P2 on said podium. Marcel Fritsch and Nick Clemens, P26, P27, with Mark Sykes Sykes there, wrapping up the AM podium after his recovery drive for NXTGEN, completing the AM podium of Bicknell, Fritsch, and also Sykes. And as we then come on to the remainder of the top 30, we can see it was completed by Russell Fowler and James Masgascal. From the Aztec Racer Drone, missed out on the podium in the AM class to Mark Redford, the privateer, who unfortunately was involved in a nasty incident on the open lap and lost major places, but still he'll be looking forward to race number 3, as will Daniel Downing, whose luck does not seem to be going his way at all today for Goldwyn Motorsport. Matterman's there, P5 in the AM class, a great result for the Verona Motorsport driver, ahead of Shane Pigott of Ace Spades Racing, and then Wayne Douglas and Roy Plummer completing your drives who finished on the lead lap. That was your top 36. Behind the NXTGEN Racing drive, finishing a lap down, it was none other than Craig Tillotson first and foremost for Fusion Racing, head of Kevin Smith, Jonathan Collins and Mitchell West to complete your top 40. Matthew Addy also in that group, P41 for NXTGEN, ahead of 2 laps down to Jack Bolton for Grant Motorsport. And it was 7 laps down to Riley Sheringham for Virtuality Autosports, who will be classified as a finisher as he completed over half the race distance. And the same for Costa Chats Continental for Costa C Photography Racing, who made it to the halfway point. Meanwhile, retiring from the race prematurely and therefore classified as non-finishers, we see Adam Delman, Sam Smith, Piotr Jegoslavsky, Gabriel Yilmaz, and last but not least, Ian Manners there, who unfortunately did not complete a lap. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our second race of the day. And we've got one more race to go here down under in Australia at the Sandown International Motor Raceway. We've had 2 phenomenal races so far. And race number 3 is, of course, always special because we do have that reverse grid draw. And without further ado, we cut to the commentary booth. It's time for the Lottery Bowl draw. And for the uninitiated, here is the NXTGEN Racing Lottery Bowl. And what I'm going to do very shortly is close my eyes, put my hand in, shuffle the balls around and draw 2 out of the bowl. And whatever numbers get added together, those will be your reverse grid position for today's final race. Without further ado, let's do the draw. So that's the first shuffle, and our first ball is drawn from the bowl, and it is going to be the number 11, so it's already quite a large grid that we're going to see shuffled, ladies and gentlemen, but how much of it will be added to by our next ball? Well, let's see as we take another look in the lottery bowl. Not without our shuffle, of course, first. And our second ball is going to be the number 7. So interestingly, we will be seeing what will be a top 18 reverse grid. So no AMs making it into the reverse grid, but it will be Stuart Wyniss for Track Scotland who takes reverse grid pole position for the final race of the day, and he'll be joined on the front row by Goldwyn Motorsports' Sam Van Alsten. Alex Meredith finds himself starting P3 behind them, and Lee Horn is for company on the second row. So it's going to add an absolute dimension to the final race, ladies and gentlemen. 3 prams at the front of the field, and then a pack of pros shortly after them. But who's going to be the winner in race 3? Well, all that and more is coming up in approximately 7 to 8 minutes time. Don't go anywhere, you won't want to miss it. We will be back very shortly for our final race of the day. We are back once again then, ladies and gentlemen, for the final race of the day in round 3 of the NXTCC Season 6 here at the Sandown International Motor Raceway in Australia today. And goodness me, we have had 2 absolutely cracking races thus far. 1 more to go, but there's been one consistent right at the front of the field, and it is this man. He just seems to be absolutely infallible. It is Wojciech Swirydowicz from Centre Racing, who has made it 2 wins out of 2 so far. Missed out on pole position versus the prime of Russell Fowler, only by a small sliver of time. But after taking the lead in race 1, number 1, and indeed on lap 1 of race 1, he hasn't let it go. But he's got to let it go in the build-up to this race, because of course we have what is a top 18 reverse grid, and where he'll find himself starting all the way down in P18 with none other than Stuart Wyness from Track Scotland taking what will be that reverse grid pole as he gets himself ready to go. Indeed, all the drivers right now absolutely itching and chomping at the bit to go green flag racing, no doubt about it. But the question is, who is going to come out the top come at the end of the final race of the day? Well, we're going to be getting the thoughts of this man. We're going to stay up with Wojciech Swirydowicz. We're going to try and grab a quick word with him if we can and hear his thoughts and on his preparations going into this final race of the day. But as we do just try and get the patch through to his car, we're just going to wait until he clears turns 1, 2 and 3, ladies and gentlemen, just for the simple reason we don't want to distract him and potentially cause him to have an instant going on through this very tight sequence of corners. But as he clears at what we turn number 4, we'll get the patch through to him and get a quick word from our championship leader and back-to-back winner. So as he does join me now in what will be the patch through here. Wojciech, have you got a quick moment for a word or two?
Sure, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming through loud and clear. What a brilliant pair of races you've had so far. Back-to-back wins, despite missing out on pole position. It looks as though you've been in control in both races. How does it feel for you out there?
Surprisingly doing well. Like, I felt quite a lot of pressure trying to stay ahead because, you know, cars behind are in the draft. I'm carrying the weight, but I somehow managed to hold on to it. Like, I'm very happy with that. The Audi is strong.
Well, indeed, we've seen the Audi be strong in the first 2 rounds. It's strong again here today down under in Australia. I mean, you decided to go to the Audi this season after using the Elantra last season. It seems as though it's been a worthwhile pick and a car you're very familiar with.
As familiar as any other TCR car. So, yeah, like its strengths are playing, you know, good in the races, because if you have much straight line speed, you can defend easier or attack a bit easier. Like with the likes of Elantra, I just couldn't fight once I was carrying weight. I could only drive around and stay in my position. In Audi, even if I'm not, progress, I can defend easier and better than in the Elantra.
I see, and well, speaking of progress, you're starting P18 in this final race of the day. You've got all the weight in the car as well. Where can we expect you come to finish?
Around 18 probably. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Depends on the incidents ahead. But yeah, I don't expect to make much progress, and I already got loads of points this round. So if I manage to, finish when I started, I will be happy with that.
Well, that's absolutely fair. We'll leave you to it with 30 seconds to go. Good luck in the race, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.
Lovely. Thank you. See you there.
So hearing it there from our 2-time winner today and our championship leader, none other than Wojciech Swirydowicz, a man who absolutely going for it, no doubt about it. And well, as he gets himself set and ready to go for this final race of the day, we've only got what is minutes remaining, well in fact seconds remaining before we do start to go to the gridding process. And we'll feeling as though the switch to the Audi is giving him the confidence to carry the speed and battle even with weight. But will the weight hold him back here in the top 18 reverse grid? It's time to find out. It's time for race number 3. So the drivers make their way onto the grid for the final race of the day. This is how they'll line up for race 3 of 3. It was Stuart Wyness who takes reverse grid pole position for Track Scotland, the Scotsman being joined on the front row of the grid by none other than Sandown for Goldwing Motorsport. From the pair of primes on the front row of the grid, it's a third prime in the form of Alex Meredith, who starts P3 for NXTGEN, and then Lee Horn will be your leading pro driver who starts P4. Behind the NXTGEN drivers, it will be Ben Altrier for Full Tilt B Motorsport and Jamie Dory for Next Gen Pink, with row number 4 being contested by the Sim Racing Collective's Andrew Pike and World of Racing's Luciano Witvoet. Keep your eyes on the Dutchman, we reckon he may have the pace to go for the win in the opening couple of laps. Jack Jeffrey starts P9 for Red Grove Projects ahead of what will be Gavin Garner for Next Gen Pink. That completes your top 10 with P11 going to Matthew Cheverton for Aztec Racing. We'll then have on the same row as Cheverton, Benjamin McCluskey, who starts P12 for Next Gen Pink, and behind him on row number 7 will be the pairing of what will be Kieran Sharp for the Sim Racing Collective and Akram Zanoon for the organisation. Patrick Halkner starts P15 for JW Motorsport, enjoying some of his finest racing this season so far, with the company of Joseph Doble P16 for Doble Sim Racing, and then on 9th Friday, completing the reversal, it's Mikey Doble for Doble Sim Racing, and 2 out of 3 winners so far, Wojciech Swirydowicz for Semper Racing. Alan McCain starts P19 for iRacing Esports, joined on the 10th row of the grid to complete the top 20 by JW Motorsports Reswap. And then we have behind them on row number 11, Adam McNally for SRO and Next Gen Gold, and P22 goes to your Ampole Sitter, looking to make it free on the bounce and replicate the Mark Sykes triple from Monza, Harley Bicknell for JW Motorsport. Isaac Doble starts P23 for Doble Sim Racing ahead of Luke James for JW Motorsport, and then we'll have behind them on row number 13 Daniel Fritz for Whiskey Runners Racing and Marcel Fritz for WS Racing Esports. Nick Clemens starts P27 for iRacing Esports ahead of Next Gen's Mark Sykes, with Russell Fowler P29 for Performance Lane Esports and looking to try and charge his way through the field as rapidly as he can in this final race today, given the pace he's shown at the start of today. And he'll have the company of James Spencer-Scow for Aztec Racing at P30, completing that top 30 ahead of the 16th row that started by Mark Redford and completed by Goldwyn Motorsports' Daniel Downing. Matt Emmons, I should say, it starts P33 at Verano Motorsport ahead of Shane Piggott for Ace of Spades Racing, and then Wayne Douglas will line up on the 18th row of the grid P35 for Next Gen Pink. He'll have the company of Next Gen's Roy Plummer, and then we'll have it on row number 19, the combination of what is Craig Tillerson for Fusion Racing and Kevin Smith for Verano Motorsport, both drivers looking for some more points before the end of today, as will Mitchell West for Mitch West Performance, who starts P39 ahead of Matthew Addy P40 for Next Gen, with row number 21 going to Jack Bolton for Grant Motorsport and Riley Shannon for Virtual Reality Autosports. Costa Chats Continental starts P43 for Costa C Photography Racing, and the SO Next Gen Gold's Adam Delmont, and then we'll have on what will be the penultimate row of the grid at Piotr Jegosleski P45 for Semper Racing ahead of Gabriel Yilmaz for Aztec Racing. And in fact, ladies and gentlemen, that will be our full grid, 46 cars for our final race of the day. Everybody is in position, and I do believe they've got the best part of 30 seconds before we do go racing. And well, it's unfamiliar territory for Stuart Winess for Track Scotland. In only his 3rd round of racing in the NXTCC, he finds himself on the front row. He's flashing his lights. He knows he's on camera. He knows that he's got a golden opportunity here to pick up his first Prime win of the season, or at least the first Prime podium. But he's going to have Sam Van Ols for company alongside. And the one thing we know about the Goldwyn Motorsport driver, if he's at the front in a reverse grid race, he gives it everything to take Prime victory. And well, will either of these two be the winners, or could Alex Meredith muscle his way on through? Well, the grid is set, the lights are going on, and it's going to be for the final time today 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for our final race of the day. And Van Ols gets the better launch off the line as they make their way down towards turn number 1. But Winess will stay on the inside as they make their way towards the braking zone here. And as they do on the inside, further back is Andrew Pye looking to go for the moves. But around the outside goes Van Ols. He gets the move done. Winess falls to P2. More drivers going wide. That's Luciano Witvoet, who's been speared off circuit. He makes his way back on. Major instant further back in the order. That's outside the top 30. But Venal Trim on the attack. Oh, goodness me. Lee Horns into the barrier turn 3. And it's absolute carnage as it is going to be a blocked road for the most part as they come into turn number 4, and as all of our drivers come through, well, I wouldn't be surprised if race control for our safety car from this absolute disaster. Indeed, I'm getting flashbacks to GT World Change Asia at Macau, but as they made their way on through, well, a number of drivers have been affected, and well, meanwhile, Sam Van Ols is absolutely running away at the front. Understandable, the field being bottled into turn 3 and being forced on a one-way line through. Well, Sam Van Ols right now leading the race, but I don't think it's going to take long before we potentially see a safety car as our drivers make the way on through. Sam Van Ols leading Jamie Dory P2 and Stuart Winess P3 with Alex Meredith there, but the safety car has been deployed, ladies and gents. We can confirm, and remember, our drivers are permitted to race up to the start-finish line, the timing line for the next lap. But as soon as they cross line, which Van Ols has just done now, they must cease all racing and they must get into orderly fashion behind the Porsche Cayman GT4 safety car. But what a disastrous start to the race for so many drivers. but look at that, what it's done to our top 10. It has caused the top 10 to be flooded with pro-ams, and Mark Sykes in all of it has moved to P11 as your leading AM driver. He's found his way through the carnage, and well, with that, that is an absolute surprise. Indeed, James Smansiscow's moved up. Harley Bicknell's dropped down to P16, but look at the car of Smansiscow. It's got a huge crumple on the front of it. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these drivers right now are running damage on their cars, and well, they might be thinking about coming to the pits to take that fast repair, but do keep in mind they'll lose position if they do so. We've got what is the best part of half the field in the pits right now having to take repair work to their cars, and indeed it's a disastrous start to today. But as all the drivers are just coming down in towards turn one, that safety car being deployed, you can see Costachance Constantu there with the damage on the front left side of the car, and that front bumper practically peeling off the car by the looks of things. It's been a disaster for many, but the question is, what exactly set it off? Many of you will be asking. Well, it all started with Lee Horn getting it wrong out of turn number 3, it would seem, but as all the drivers form up behind the safety car, let's take a look back at what exactly happened, and we'll do so from Lee Horn's perspective. So starting from what was P4 on the grid, it gets a good launch in the Honda, to be fair, alongside Alex Meredith, who you can see he actually drops there in the rear view mirror. So Horn gets the best launch in the top 4, looking around the outside here versus Whiteness, goes away on the brakes, goes a bit deep, but as he does so, this is where things start to get close between himself and what I believe was Jamie Dory. Horn on the inside here into 2, has to go slowly, car on his inside, that's Meredith. Horn turns towards the barrier and spun across the road, and well, at this point, everyone else now picks up the piece of Jack Jeffries. Horn's just a passenger in his car, and it all goes very, very wrong for our drivers. We take a look back at the race start from what was an exterior perspective here, a bit further down the order for Mark Sykes, to see what happened to him. In fact, I think we're going to be getting the helicopter camera with regards to how this all worked out for him very shortly. In fact, here we go, the helicopter feed over him at the time, and well, as the NXTGEN racing driver made his way underway, well, not the fastest of starts, in fact, lost a bit of ground initially, but remember, the incident's going to happen, he's going to have to react to it, as we had a 4 wide just behind him there, but he made his way through. That was the Moses manoeuvre between the JW Motorsports cars. Well, Sykes went for it here, went all in, a bit of contact there with Harley Bicknell, made his way around the outside, brave move from Sykes, and in the end, just able to sneak on the inside, on the outside of the incident. Luciano Witvoet being turned around in all of it, and well, what a move there from Mark Sykes to be able to steer clear of the danger. But then the question you might be asking, what happened to Luciano Witvoet at the race start? Given the fact that he had a good start to the race and the World of Racing drive went hunting, and well, we thought he'd go for it given the fact he's got no weight in the car going into this race. And you can see already, look at the speed difference versus Andrew Pike and also Ben Ultrier around the outside. He went 3 wide. Ultrier here in a bit of contact with Witvoet, gets turned sideways, rejoins Halvin as he went racing in towards turn number 2. Well, here they came right into left, and as they did so, well, Witvoet at this point is going to be on the outside. He's got very little room to work with. He makes his way through 1 minute, gets turned across the front of the car of, I believe, that was Matthew Cheverton, and well, Witvoet's gains were all lost, and what a disastrous start for many a driver. As we return to your live pictures, ladies and gentlemen, safety car still deployed at this time, and well, as all the drivers made the way on through, it's definitely been a difficult one for our drivers, and will that field now all settled down up behind the safety car. We've got a couple of cars still making the way on through, and well, I don't think we'll be going racing at the end of this lap. We may get another one. We're waiting for confirmation from race control. But as our drivers make the way through turn number 9 on towards 10, it is Sam Van Alst who is your leader ahead of Jamie Dory, with Stuart Wynis P3 ahead of Alex Meredith P4, Ben Ultrier P5, Matthew Sherrers at P6, Adam Manali P7, Benjamin McCluskey P8 ahead of Akram Zanoon, with Reese Watt completing your top 10, and leader Mark Sykes P11. And while the drivers made their way on around, they will go for 1 more lap as a minimum, ladies and gentlemen. So lap number 4 will be a safety car lap, but I suspect, given the fact the field now has completely caught up with our 45 drivers out there, I think we've got a couple of drivers who are a lap down this time, including Jack Bolton, who are, in fact, Jack Bolton, I think, has retired from this race. We should correct ourselves. I think Ryan Plummet is the last runner in this race right now. And indeed, P45, they have all caught up. And I think we will be going green flag racing the next time around. Although saying that, we've got Adam Delmont into the pits for repair work, Gabriel Yilmaz as well. So 2 drivers here opting to take a fast repair. This is going to put them all the way to the back of the field, but they're gambling here by doing this. I think their gamble was the fact that the field's not running at pace right now, so they will theoretically lose less places. but Yilmaz is just sitting there at the moment in the pit lane, so I wonder if that could be a retirement for the 26, given the fact it's not going anywhere, and if he had a faster pair available, he'd be very quickly in and out, so therefore we could be losing the drive before we go racing. We have just had confirmation from race control as well, ladies and gentlemen, that safety car is in at the end of this lap, so we are going to have what will be the best part of 12 laps of racing to wrap up our racing here in Australia today. And will Sam Vinolas right now be ready for this? He'll be thinking about where does he restart the race from as our safety car makes its way over the crest. And keep in mind, of course, they're not allowed to go racing until the safety car has passed the safety car line, which will be coming out the final major corner at turn number 12. And will Vinolas come back the field up now if he so decides to do so. It'll be up to him how he plays. As you can see, the safety car is peeling away, but Vinolas not really making an effort here to back the field up. I think just getting ready to go. And well, as he does so, pace right now being held around 70 miles now as he makes his way into turns 11 and 12. Coming on through the left-hander here then, and as he makes his way out the final corner, we are going green flag racing once again, ladies and gentlemen. Vinolas leads us away with 11 laps remaining in race 3 of the day as he charges his way down towards turn number 1. As he does so, Jamie Dory right behind him looking for a move, but not quite able to find it. Meanwhile, Benjamin McCluskey missing the front bumper perhaps, but not missing his challenge for this position as he looks at the move versus Matthew Sheraton. Ben Sheraton holds him off. Atkins looking around the outside, can't quite find it. Run wide there from what is Adam McNally. It's McNally making it too wide with Sheraton going around the outside to inside for turns 3 and 4, and well, through turns 2 and 3 we should say. Now into turn 4 they go, and well, McNally there losing the place. I think wishing he hadn't at the end of the day, as in the end Sheraton will gain that place now, try and pull away as the drivers do make their way on the back straight. Reeswat under pressure of Ankram's known in terms of the fact they're doing right now side by side with him. What trying to drag race out the inside. It's going to be nip and tuck between them into turn number 6. McCluskey versus Sheraton the same, and Sheraton nursing a lot of damage on that Aztec racing Audi. You can see it on the rear of the car, and as they make their way down through the left-hander at turn number 6 into 7. Too wide here from Watt versus Noon. They survive it out. This is brilliant racing between the two gentlemen racers, and in the end Watt has to back out on the inside of turn number 9, but the two of them going side by side like that, that's what we absolutely love to see in the NXTCC. And Watt now under pressure from Doble, that's Isaac Doble, but looks to move around the outside but can't quite find it as they come through the left hand at turn number 12 and on to the next lap. Meanwhile, looking from them a bit further down the order, Costa Constantiu under pressure from Marcel Fridge, and I think right now it's Fridge trying to make the places flow like the cork in the bottle. Up the inside he goes, and Constantiu still on the inside of turn number 12, really right now frustrated everyone as Fritz is made to go wide, and well, meanwhile getting too close is Mitchell West, who's going to see Daniel Fritz and Andrew White and Jack Jeffries all pour their way through. Remember, a large number of these pro drivers are out of position given the damage they picked up on the open lap incident into turn number 3, and therefore everyone's going to be trying to fight their way through, and this is a huge opportunity for some AMs and Primes who wouldn't normally finish for overall points to take teams championship points. Here's the Mitch West performance driver of West right now looking for another opportunity as they make the way in towards turns at 2 and 3. Well, meanwhile looking back to Reese Watt as he tries to charge his way past Matthew Sheraton around the outside. I think he's going to do so this time for what is P7 in the prime class. Isaac Doble comes on through as well for overall position. Moving up to P10 does Isaac Doble, and Sheraton right now struggling as Isaac Doble looks up the inside of Watt into turn number 9. Too wide they go to the apex, too wide they exit, and as they make the way in towards turn number 11 right now, lock up there in the rear of the picture, a car getting it very wrong, and I believe that may have been the car of Russell Fowler who's had it go wrong, but contact there between Watt and Doble. Meanwhile in the rear of the picture, there goes Nick Clemens, I think some contact with Mark Sykes, under braking, not happy about it at all. You can see the flash of lights immediately. Nick Clemens rejoins, but he's put down the order a long way. Meanwhile Mark Sykes here, battling with Matthew Sheraton, and Sheraton is struggling. That car has not been repaired, and you can tell the speed that Audi is losing to Sheraton as Mark Sykes takes P11 back, and as he goes into turn 1 right now, Sykes is trying to chase down an overall top 10. He'd be the first AM to score one this season. Can he make it happen if he can find his way past Reese Watt? At this point he's going to be bringing home at least overall points of each inside the overall top 15, and that will be a major achievement he can boast home about on its own. But as they make their way out turn number 4, car runs wide in the rear of the picture, and that is Patrick Falconer who's made a bit, well, in fact that's not Patrick Falconer, we should correct ourselves, that's Harley Bicknell who's made haste to the barrier there out turn number 4, and Bicknell right now is struggling as he's got Kevin Smith on his inside. Smith going for the move for P3 in the AM class, the Runner Motorsport driver looking for the move on the JW Motorsport Elantra, but can he get it done? Smith does get ahead, but as they make the way downhill here to the braking zone for turns 6, 7 and 8 and 9, well right now Smith 9, he's got the move done initially, but there's more to come as Bicknell comes roaring roaring hot on the inside of his contact. Smith's turned around, he goes completely around, and it leads to Constantina, and Smith's able to get out of the way in the end, but I think to avoid more damage he's going to lose a lot of places. Vettel Triers into the pits meanwhile, I believe with damage to the car, to the suspension of the Hyundai Elantra, so that's going to put him all the way down the order for full tilt Motorsport, and we're now back up to race pace, and Will Smith in the end, after going for the move for P3, he's got to come into the pits with damage. He won't be very happy about that at all, and I can imagine he'll be fuming on the radio right now to the team as he comes on in. Meanwhile, one driver's lost and another's gained, and right now Luke Jones trying to hold him for P11 or P7 in the prime class versus Matthew Sheraton. As they come into turns 2 and 3, Sheraton falling back again. Gavin Gardner and James Spencer Scal, the next tries to try and make the way through. Meanwhile, Wayne Douglas battling here with Matthew Addy. I think backing out there, not wanting to be in an incident, given the way that things have gone for Matthew Addy over the opening 3 rounds. I don't think he wants to lose any more places if he can. Indeed, it's been a dismal start to his season. And Daniel Downing just up there over Goldwyn Motorsports commenting, as we understood down the paddock afterwards the second race, the bad luck at Monza is just infecting his season now after what was the good run of form at Silverstone. As they make the way on the rise in towards turn at number 6, right now it's horses for courses, and I don't just mean that as a proverb, I mean it literally, given the fact that this circuit is located around what is the vicinity of a horse racing course as well. Many Australian racing circuit in that fashion. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, all based around old airfields, if you will, but nobody's going to be taking flight right now unless they hit those curbs high. And Adam McNally still holding on to P4 in the prime class, P6 overall versus Zach Kremsenone as they head down the start of the straight. Isaac Doble, they're going slowly. I believe that might be a slowdown penalty being served there for Isaac Doble, an automated one, as he makes his way on down towards turn at number 1. Well, meanwhile, Mark Sykes moves up to P9, and will Adam McNally meanwhile still keeping that Kremsenone behind as they head up through turn 1 into turns 2 and 3. Zanoon throwing everything at this, but keeping in mind as well he's going to have the success balance of 32.5 kilograms in the car, and that's going to be definitely limiting just how much he can extract out the Audi straight line speed. McNally meanwhile has no weight in that car whatsoever, and therefore the Honda can be at its full attack pace. But the problem is here, the Audi is the stronger on the straights, and that's what Zanoon's going to pride himself on as he looks to try and inch his way out the inside into turn number 6. Side by side they go towards the braking zone, but who's going to be the braver of the two of them here? Zanoon's got a nose ahead, and McNally has to let it go as they make the way on down now in towards turn number 9. Hard on the brakes, you can see Zanoon, the car sliding out underneath him through turn number 8 under braking, but in the end does catch the car nicely, and Adam McNally loses the pace, and that comes in for the organisation, gaining another place and in time. But as he makes his way in towards what is turns 11 and 12, meanwhile off camera, Jamie Doria has found the lead of this race, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe you may be asking, how did he make that move happen? Well, here's the replay to explain. Was the drag race down towards turn 1. This was on at lap number 7 as they made the way across the timeline, and will Jamie Dory getting a nose ahead here, but it wasn't without Van Knowles keeping his head in and digging in for this battle as they made the way down the battle of the pro leader versus the prime leader, and Dory on the inside into turn at number 1, hard on the brakes, and in the end getting it done in a classical style through turn at number 1. As we return to the race in action live on your screens. Meanwhile, a bit further down the order, Patrick Falk letting Luke Jones go, an exchange of places for the JW Motorsport teammates. They have got the long queue. The boys Ams and Prize Wine as led by James Spencer's gal, second place Am driver who just grazes the wall on the exit of turn 4, and we're already very bruised and battered Aztec Racing Audi right now. I think he's missing even more pieces after that. And we're speaking of picking up the pieces, here comes a free wide as it's going to be Clemens on one side of Wojciech Sheraton, on the other side is Harley Bicknell, reverse Moses again today, and as they make the way up towards turn number 6, well now it's going to be Clemens who holds out of Sheraton, with Bicknell still in the pursuit of what is the win in the AM class, but he's got to get past James Spencer's go in front of him, and then find his way up to Mark Sykes, who's a lot further up the road by comparison. Sykes being the best part of 10 seconds up the road in P9 overall, and well, as they make the way down towards turns 11 and 12, well, meanwhile Daniel Downing looking for a move here versus Sheraton. I think cognizant of the fact that Sheraton's in a heavily wounded car as we ride on board with the Goldwyn Motorsport driver as he comes on the apex, and look at the rear of that Audi. It's just got no speed, and I think it's missing a lot of parts, and Downing is just going to cruise down the inside here. Indeed, it's not a contest. Sheraton tucks into the toe, and I think not coming in for the repair work has cost Sheraton massively here in what could have been an opportunity. As meanwhile going deep is Nick Clemens. He looks to rejoin. He'll rejoin there off the racing line, brings himself back on, and with Daniel Downing getting on through, and that's going to buy Downing some space to what will be Wayne Douglas and Matthew Sheraton as there's further contact. In fact, I believe there Wayne Douglas had a bit of a scrape with the wall coming out of turn on 3. Shepardson getting his elbows out, and behind Ben Altria, going to come into the pits from P6 now, looking for an opportunity to try and make some more places. Chasing after Matthew Addy. Wayne Douglas trying to squeeze it to the inside, but in the end not able to do so. And Altria getting the space in turn as they make the way up the rise in towards the left hand. They go as they come over the crest and down in towards the run to turn number 9. Altria will make the move happen, and his next target will be P11, the prime class. Matthew Addy holds on to it currently, and Matthew Sheraton is just in front as they all come through turn number 10. They make the way onwards towards 11 from our drivers here, absolutely battling hard. Meanwhile, we do look a little bit further down the order. Wojciech Swirydowicz has been one of many a driver caught up in that major shunt into turn number 3 on the open lap, and around the outside of Jats Constantiu goes Swirydowicz, as does Shane Piggott as they gain the places on the AM driver overall. Craig to the snare looking for a move, but Smith on the inside, oh my goodness, and that is a crunch shunt there from Smith to the rear of Tillerston's car, and well, I think Tillerston did know that Smith was looking up the inside. I think Smith just a little bit eager on the brakes. Well, either way, it's not worked out for the pair of them, and Tillerston being turned around and missing the rear hood of the car, the boot space of the car now, as he looks to bring things back together. But as he does so, I think there might be words between them after the race. From them, it's 2 wide here, it's 3 wide, and well, I don't think you can get away with that, as they all just about survive it in the fight for wins P21, and Matthew Sheraton right now just trying to stop anyone from getting through, but he can't, as that was, well, I don't know how they survived that, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw Andrew Pike have a major moment with the wall there, alongside Jack Jeffries and Luciano Witvoet, but all three of them were able to find their way past Matthew Sheraton in all of that, and here comes Kieran Sharp as well, as he makes his way the full pass here in the run down towards turn at number 6. As they make the way on through the S sequence in towards turn number 1. I can tell you one thing, if you thought races 1 and 2 were absolutely exciting, well, they're tame compared to this right now. Drivers are absolutely unleashed to the world, and as they make the way on towards what will be the final quarter of this race, with only what is another 4 laps of racing to go. Well, meanwhile, we look back to your prime leader here, and it's Sam Van Olst right now for Goldwyn Motorsport, who's trying to hold off the charge of Stuart Winess as they make the way out of turn at number 4, and we ride on board and look back from the rear of the Audi RS3 that leads its class, as meanwhile the Hyundai Elantra from Track Scotland behind continues to chase, continues to stay within half a second, but as they make the way up the hill towards turn number 6, you can see the Audi straight line speed just giving Van Olst the comfort he needs to feel safe, to feel as though he can hold on to this lead a little bit longer. Alex Meredith also in the hunt there, a little bit further back. It's the 2 Elantras chasing down the Audi, but we've seen that the Audi looks so strong here today at Sandown. Indeed, against what we expected. We thought it was going to be the day of the Veloster and the Honda, but how wrong were we in the Conti move? And well, as we can see there, Gabriel Yilmaz a lap down, steering clear of Sam Van Olst, and right now on the start-finish straight, this will be where Winess looks to make the move on past the lap down driver, as they come on through the final kink and on towards what will be 3 laps to the finish now. Well, the gap has opened up there for the Olsen, has opened up to 8 tenths. They charge the way down towards turn 1 once again. But as they do a bit further back, Benjamin McCluskey right now all over the back of Akram Zanoon, missing even more of the front of the car since we last looked at it. And P6 right now is the next gen peak driver overall, with 4 primes in front of him. And Jamie Dory, the leading pro driver, your overall leader, in a very lonely place right now, and just looking to bring on home that win off camera. But from there, Mark Sykes still P9 overall, your leading AM driver, looking to bring home the first overall top 10 of any AM driver since the class's inception at the start of this season. Can he do it? He's got Isaac Noble for company. I wouldn't be surprised here if he perhaps lets Isaac Noble go, knowing that Gavin Gardner's still 2.5 seconds behind, and doing exactly that, knowing he does need to fight here as he makes his way on the run, and also looking to try and buck the trend of the triplet of wins that Harley Bickle seems to be on course for. And Sykes right now looking to bring home a win of his own today, makes his way in towards turn number 6, coming on down the hill. Meanwhile, in fact, I can hear a bit of crunch of metal. That's Gabriel Yilmaz in a very heavily wounded car. It's headed to the barriers, it's going off the circuit, and for Yilmaz, I think that could be race ending as the car's parked up, and that's a tow to the pits, unfortunately, for the Aztec Racing driver. I don't think we're going to be able to get a replay of that given the time we have remaining. But meanwhile, one driver who's having a much better day today in the final race today, he's capitalised, I think, on all of what happened on lap 1. Piotr Jegozlewski, who's P12 in the prime class right now. He's been outside of the top 15 of the primes since race number 1. It hasn't gone his way, but right now looking to bring home some key points in this final race of the day. With Wayne Douglas in front of him, behind him Jack Jeffries, as they make the way on step and for lap of racing. Kieran Sharp, Andrew Pike and Mikey Doble will in that mix as well as they make the way on through, and indeed it is a completely topsy-turvy race, as we can see the white flag getting ready to be waved for when our leaders come around the next time, ladies and gents. But don't mean to say the leaders have got a way to go. But indeed, an absolutely crazy race right now. All starts off by that major crash, a good crash as Mr. JSA has commented in the YouTube chat there, and he definitely one to go in the annals of NXTCC history. But contact there for Daniel Fritz and Matthew Sheraton. But Fritz in the end still P3 in the AM class. It doesn't need to fight to bring home this key result, it should be pointed out, given the fact the next damn driver is Matt Emmons, who is the best part of what is 15 seconds behind. But meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to run out of time, and in fact, as the time does tick on through, it will be Jamie Dory who returns to winning ways here. We finish a lap down, but for Jamie Dory, it's another day on the top step for the next-gen pink driver, ahead of prime winner Sam Van Alst, who takes the prime win for Goldwyn Motorsport, fend off Stuart Wyness and Alex Meredith P4. Wrap up your prime podium ahead of Akram Zanoon, Benjamin McCluskey P6 ahead of Adam McNally, and in fact, I do believe the race is over, ladies and gentlemen. We're just double checking facts. It is confirmed. There are a bit of confusion on our timing screens. McCluskey P6, but meanwhile we must come to Mark Sykes as he takes P10 overall. He's the first AM driver to take a top 10 overall, and he bucks Bicknell's run of wins by taking an AM win of his own today. We've got Harley Bicknell in the end taking P13 overall, P2 in the AM class, and well, after that it will be what will be a P3 in the AM class, and back-to-back podiums in the AM class for Daniel Fritz today, P27 overall, and he'll be absolutely jubilant at that. And well, further down, it's not quite a podium for him in the AM class, but it's a P4 in the class for Matt Emmons for Ronald Motorsport, a P34 overall, and he continues to go from strength to strength today, with teammate Kevin Smith just behind P36 and making it a top 5 for the pair of them in the Ronald Motorsport team in the AM class. Between them, Adam Delman and Jose Dole P37 out of Costa Chats Continental, and then we can see Roy Plummer and what was Mark Redford completing your top 40. Craig Tillis to P41, and then James Smansens-Gow and Riley Sheringham both finishing a lap down in the end. The same for Gabriel Yilmaz, and I believe Russell Fowler and Jack Bolton being your retirees who were non-finishers of this race. But goodness me, what a race we have had, no doubt about it. And as Orva tries to make the way into the pit lane, definitely a very different race number 3 to end on compared to our first 2 races of the day. We may not have made the full race distance in the end. In fact, we fell 1 lap short due to the extended safety car, but still, it only led to the field being ever tighter, and we've seen some fantastic racing as a result of it. And this will definitely have served to shake up the championship standings, no questions asked, as Shane Piggott makes his way on through the last couple of corners and into the pits. And as he does so, Wojciech Swirydowicz in the end not able to make it 3 points finishes today. Indeed, after what was a great race 1 and 2, a P32 in the end race number 3, but still he'll know he went in today with a sizable advantage, and that advantage will still be retained for the most part. But as all the drivers come into the pits, let's take a look at those race results subject to any stewards' inquiries. And after what was 15 laps of racing, ended on time today in our final race of the day for round 3 of the NXTCC Season 6, as powered by IMB Racewear, brought to you on iRacing. Jamie Dory, your winner for Next Gen Pink by almost 3 seconds over Goldwyn Motorsport Sam Van Alst, your Pro Am winner and P2 overall finisher. Your overall podium was completed by your runner-up in the prime class of Stuart Wyness of Track Scotland, with a season best performance for both him and Van Alst, and they'll be very happy with that result. And Alex Meredith back on at prime podium form with 3rd place in the class, 4th overall for Next Gen. Fend off Akram Zanoon for the organisation, 2 at the line by 2 seconds. And then Benjamin McCluskey, your next pro driver, P6 there for Next Gen Pink. Adam McNally, P7 for SRO and Next Gen Gold, holding off Respot for JW Motorsport, with Isaac Doble for Doble Sim Racing P9 ahead of your AM winner, taking his first top 10 overall for the season, indeed in his career in the NXTCC, Mark Sykes for Next Gen, and then behind him, Gavin Garner, best the rest for Next Gen Pink ahead of Patrick Falcon of JW Motorsport, and Falconer's teammate Harley Bicknell, P13 overall, but with that taking up the 2nd place AM position on the AM podium. Daniel Downing and Nick Clemens completing at your top 15 ahead of Ben Altrier for Full Tilt B Motorsport, whose late run into the pits from P6 cost him very dear as he tried to fight his way back through. Luke Jones P17 ahead of Matthew Addy, and then Luciano Witvoet and Wayne Douglas completing your top 20. Behind the Next Gen Pink driver, Semper Racing's Piotr Jegoslewski, and a good end to his day of racing, with Jack Jeffries P22 ahead of Andrew Pike. And then Mikey Doble and Kieran Sharp completing the top 25, with the Sim Racing Collective drive being followed up by Next Gen's Lee Horn. And then your 3rd place and finisher for Whiskey Runner Racing, we can see it there, Daniel Fritz, P27. A great day today for the British-Australian team, and well, Daniel Fritz will be absolutely pleased to have back-to-back podiums in the AM class. Alan McCain, P28 for iRace Esports, ahead of what was Matthew Sheraton and Marcel Fritsch, with Shane Pigg at P31, then Wojciech Swirydowicz P32 ahead of Mitchell West, Matt Emmons and Adam Delmont, and a special mention to the Runner Motorsport team of Matt Emmons and also Kevin Smith, who was P36 there, given the fact they both took a top 5 finish in the AM class in this final race of the day, and then Joseph Doble P37 ahead of Costa Chats Continentino, with the top 40 being completed by Roy Plummer and Mark Redford. Craig Tiddeston, P41, your last lead lap finisher for Fusion Racing, ahead of 1 lap down for both James Mansesgal and Riley Shannon for Aztec Racing and Virtual Reality Autosports respectively. 2 laps down for Gabriel Yilmaz, and then non-finishes as they did not complete over half the race distance after retirement for Russell Fowler for Performance Link Esports and Jack Bolter for Grant Motorsport, and particularly for Russell Fowler, a heartbreaking end to his racing today after a brilliant start and a fantastic race number 1. That concludes our run through of the provisional finishing positions. Stewards' inquiries permitted, of course, ladies and gentlemen. But with that, that also wraps up our day of racing here today down under in Australia. And what a trio of races it has been, no doubt about it. And, well, it only continues to show as the season goes on why the NXTCC is one of those series that you can never quite predict what's going to happen from race to race. And, well, we'll get to hear our thoughts from our drivers as to the racing today and what went right and what went wrong for them in our upcoming post-round interviews. Because don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Those interviews will be coming up in approximately what will be 10 to 12 minutes time. We'll be back shortly for those. But in the meantime, we do ask that if you've got a moment in the respective media channel you are tuning in via, make sure to give us a follow or subscribe because it always helps and it means you can stay up to date with the latest broadcast of the NXTCC. But on top of that as well, let us know in the chat what was your favourite moment from today's racing. We'll be back for those post-round interviews in approximately 10 minutes. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for our post-round interviews with our 3 volunteer drivers. And today we're going to be hearing from a variety of our drivers up and down the order, starting with Patrick Falconer from JW Motorsport in the Pro class. We're then hearing from the Prime classes Stuart Wyniss from Track Scotland. And then lastly, we're going to Jamie Dory from NXTGEN in the Pro class. But he's been waiting patiently, and without further ado, let's not leave him waiting any longer. Joining me in the interview room is none other than Patrick Falconer. Good evening to you, Patrick. And well, what a day of racing today. And for yourself, your best set of results of the season on average, with 2 back-to-back top 5 finishes, a P12 in race number 3 in a very disrupted race 3. But it looks as though Sandown definitely favoured your driving style today.
Hey, hi, Paul. Thanks firstly for having me in here. Yeah, it's my first time doing this series, so it's nice to get stuck in with the interviews. Yeah, this particular round, I quite like Sandown. My testing, my practice laps I do before, I kind of try and do hotter temps, so about the 57, 58 degree mark track temp. And then when it gets cooler in the races, it actually benefits me a little bit better. But no, the race 1 and 2 was good. It's no hard fought when you stuck behind the Dobles. You know that they're a formidable force. Being my first time in this series as well, that it's good to get stuck in behind them. There was times I could overtake, but you can't do an overtake without making sure the end goal is everybody's away cleanly. But yeah, race 3, that was tricky. I don't know what happened actually. I went round the corner and there was a bit of a coming together, let's say, and I kind of chose the wrong way to go down the car sideways, and then that was it. I just took my hand off the wheel and hoped that it wasn't too bad at the end of it. But no, it was a good race overall, and there has been questionable some moves, but no, over that, it's been a really good night racing for me. I'm really impressed.
Oh, no doubt about it. And well, breaking it down a little bit further, we saw you take P3 in qualifying. I mean, it looked as though throughout the qualifying session, a lot of drivers were finding some late gains and launching their way out the order, but you seem to be throughout a very common theme of guaranteeing yourself a top 10, but to be starting on the second row with the top 36 separated by a second in the end, I mean, that's a huge achievement.
Yeah, and it's all part of of my preparation before, and making sure I work in hotter temps. So the track temp for qualifying was quite cool, so I was able to move the car around a bit more. And I don't want to say blow my own trumpet, but I could have gone a bit quicker. But with the traffic that was in there, we kind of using the tow from another car, but then you have to rely on them to be braking as late as you are, and unfortunately I got stuck behind a car that I couldn't get past, and I didn't want to get past because obviously I didn't want to ruin their qualifying, so I kind of just stuck behind them, and lucky enough I managed to get the 3rd place. It would have been nice to stick it on pole. That's one of my achievements this season, is just to get 1 pole position. If I fall backwards, fair enough. Just a pole position would be a good one for me.
Well, definitely take you on your word with regards to your target for this season to take a pole position, and that is no mean feat, it must be said. We look forward to the day you do that in the NXTCC. But coming on to your race number 1, a P5 finish, we did see you get really stuck in with not just the Doble brothers, but also Russell Fowler, the Prime driver, who found himself on pole. It looked as though race 1 was just as much about making sure to get the points as it was about enjoying the battling.
100%, and it was all the time I was thinking of Tinger, points, get the points, get the points. That's all I wanted, just get the point. And that was what it was. That's what I kept saying to my head, don't go for the take, don't, just get the point. And there was a bit of a coming together as well. I think there was a back marker that spun out, and Russell we kind of all got tangled up a little bit, and you stamp on the brakes a little bit too much, go down the hill through the fast chicane, and the back tipped out. And I think I slid into the side of him. But the right thing was to do as soon as I got straight enough is to let him pass straight back, and let him carry on. See, he rightly earned that place. I've raced with him in every series, and he's improved so much. So all credit to Russ there. He did a really good job that race, and it was a pleasure to be racing with him again.
Glad to hear you enjoyed the racing with Russell Fowler. And coming back to your racing for race number 2, we saw you make one place up to P4 come the end of it, and race 2 seemed to be more of you stabilising your starting position and just making some late gains.
Yeah, that's it. I knew the start was quite crucial in these things, especially in the Audi. It's one of the reasons why I picked it. I can get off the line pretty quick, so I knew. As soon as I got off the line, I got past Russ. That was a good thing. So that was the one position taken. I was quite close behind the Dobles, and again, there was areas where I could pass and overtake. But again, you can't just send it up on the inside. Crew chief was telling me all the time, and I had to tell Jim to calm it down. But no, it was a case of just solidifying points, and that's and it helped me in race 3. Going to that because the Dobles had got caught in the incident, and I had damage on my car. And again, I just thought of Tingram's get points, and prep position was key. So yeah, it was hopefully a good haul, not just for myself, but for the JW Motorsport team. That'd be good for us, I think.
Oh, most definitely. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And with regards to the racer in the major incident, of course, we did see you pick up quite a bit of damage on the car, and it looked as though, despite many drivers having to come into the pits to take a quick repair, you're able to get away with it for the most part. But did that change the way the car felt for the remaining race?
Yes, it was horrible. I couldn't get the exit speeds as I wanted to, and of course carrying success ballast as well. Yeah, it was a bit of damage, but lucky enough my teammates were just in front of me, and I was able to wiggle my way through, and they let me pass, and I was trying to claw my way back up to Gavin Gardner, but the damage was just too much. I couldn't put the pace down as I wanted to, so again it was just a case of, right, I'm not going to get anywhere. I could tell by my times that I was not as fast as I was in race 1 and 2. Again, it was just solidifying points, and in a little bit of praying that something might happen in front of me, but of course it didn't. But no, once the mess got sorted out, it was a good race after that, and yeah, points means prizes out here, so I'm happy with that.
Oh, without a doubt. And to know that you were the driver in the overall championship who picked up the 5th most points today, a huge 102 being added to your tally, it moves you to P8 in the overall standings. And like you say, with regards to the team's championship, JW Motorsport getting a nice injection from yourself, now moving up to P5. It's all looking upwards for yourself and the team at 3 rounds in.
Yeah, it's really good, and nice to get these points in the bag as well. And yeah, I got to shout out to the JW Motorsport guys. I was going to come as an independent, and they kind of asked me to come and join them, and it's been really good. They're a good bunch of guys, so if I can help them in any way I can, if it's points, then I'll do anything I can. Yeah, it's nice to get good haul of points, and there's still a lot to go on the season, a long races to go. So we're head down, keep going, keep practicing, and hopefully I can not only help the JW Motorsport team, I can also boost myself up a little bit. But then you've got the likes of Delmont, you've got the Wojciech, and you've got Dobles. It's such a tight group. It is absolutely fantastic to be involved in.
Oh, absolutely love to hear your enthusiasm and the enjoyment you're experiencing thus far in the NXTCC. That's great to hear, Patrick. And well, looking ahead to round number 4, we make our way to Spain for the highly technical Motorland Aragon circuit. I mean, many are wondering, when are we going to see the downfall of the Audi, given it has been a very strong car over the opening 3 rounds. But how are you feeling for a visit to Spain?
I'll be honest, I've not actually driven it. I'm going to have to... It's one that's evaded me in many times, but I will spend the week learning it. The Audi is a formidable force in fixed series, even in open setups, quite good. I think the only thing that will unsettle is the Audis, is the likes of the Dobles and the Delmont. I don't really see the car being slower. I think because with the turbos, it's always good with altitude and things like that. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll figure out how we're going in practice, and then see how qualifying goes. And hopefully the Audi name can stay at the top. But me and Wojciech will carry the flag as much as we can.
Well, we do look forward to seeing whether you can keep the Audi up top and keep the chase on at the top of the championship stands. But just before we do let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast?
Big thanks to the NXTGEN guys. Letting us, this is a fantastic, well-run series. The stewards, they have a head of a tough job as well. JW Motorsports, again, thank you for letting me join their team. It's been absolutely brilliant. And and to you, I don't know how you can commentate that fast and that well. I have no idea, but that's why you do what you do, and that's what I do. Big shout out to you, mate.
Well, Patrick, we must give a huge thank you to you as well for joining us in the interview. It's great to hear how much fun you're having on the grid today, and we can see your teammate Reeswatt in the YouTube chat giving you a shout out, saying nicely done, bud. Indeed, very nicely done for yourself today, and we look forward to plenty more in a week's time at Motorland Aragon. But until then, congratulations on the great string of results, and well, we will see you in a week's time.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
So hearing it there from Patrick Falcon, the JW Motorsport driver in the 96 Audi, who today really demonstrating his pro credentials and why he is a force to be reckoned with. After we saw a great rise of results at Monza, he has brought things to the foray today, and with what was 2 top 5 finishes and a P12 in race 3 and a very eventful race 3 in a heavily wounded car, which he was discussing there, and having to struggle against the undercurrent of a car that was not feeling happy to put the power down. Well, the JW Motorsport driver bringing on home one of the biggest point tools today in the overall Drivers' Championship, and you can hear the positivity within him and the fact that right now everything is on the up. But also interesting to hear his thoughts there that he feels as though the Audi is not a car that's going to suffer as the season goes on, as we see more technical tracks arrive on the scene, including next week's Motorland Aragon circuit being a very different kind of circuit, to the power influence circuits that we've seen over the first 3 rounds. But still, we'll have to wait and see where that rings true. But he's set himself a target for this season, which is to take an overall pole position in qualifying. Could he do it at Motorland Aragon, as well as carry on his run of results? Well, we'll have to find out. As we come on to our second interview, ladies and gentlemen, you have to excuse me to take a quick sip of water. Unfortunately, my voice is trying to give way on me at the very end of today. And there we go, back and fully hydrated. Always remember to take a drink every so often. We're going to be going on to our second interview now, and that will be none other than Stuart Wyness, who will get to hear the story of the Track Scotland driver in terms of his performances in the Prime class and how it's worked out for him today in a very positive way. There's no doubt about it, in taking home what was a great set of performances, albeit race number 2 perhaps not being the way he wanted it to go, but race number 3 definitely coming to the foray. And as he gets ready to join me in the interview room, we'll get to hear his thoughts on what has definitely been a challenging day of racing, but by no means at least an enjoyable one. As in fact, I think he will be joining me very shortly, and here he is as he does join me now. And good evening to you, Stuart, and well, what a trio of races today. May not have worked out in qualifying nor in race number 2, but in races 1 and 3, 2 top 10 finishes in the Prime class, and in race number 3, a P2 in class, despite your chase of Sandown all the way to the finish. It may have been a mixed bag for many, but for you, it looks though the results are going up.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, it's really hard, this. I thought it'd be... Well, I didn't think it would be easy, but it's a lot harder than I thought it used to be, so good to get the wee bit of practice in touring cars in again.
Oh, without a doubt. And well, speaking of challenges and how tough it can be, let's talk a little bit about your qualifying. A P14 in class, a P30 overall. I mean, when we say a P30 overall, many would go, well, in a field of 50, that's not great. It's the second half of the field. But then you put into context a second separated P1 through to P36. I mean, how did qualifying feel for you out there? Was it all about marginal gains?
Yeah, I thought qualifying was horrendous for me for coming out in P30. At one point it was P5. I was like, oh, that's fine. And then it's, it went downhill after that. But no, it's really good. It shows how close every class is and how close the cars are in qualifying. So it shows you how good the championship is.
Oh, no doubt about it. And we'll offer the theme of what is the championship. Of course, we've seen yourself and also your teammate from Track Scotland on the grid this season. Both opted to go with the Hyundai Elantra. You're a new team on the grid and seem very comfortable in the car. But I have to ask, what made you pick the Elantra?
It's the one I bought. That's pretty much simple, but it's just the one we've got, and we just run that. We're quite stick to what we've got and just go with it. And as we said, it's our first season in this championship, and we just thought we'll feed ourselves in quite easily and just see how we get on.
Well, that's absolutely fair, and well, for yourself and Kieran, a very good and smart approach to take going into this season, your inaugural season. And carrying on from the qualifying then into race number 1, we saw you make some early gains in the race, moving up to a P9 finish in the Pro-Am class in the end. Some good points on the board. Race 1 seems to be one of those ones whereby you're able to gain the places you lost in qualifying.
Yeah, just I was kind of just holding off and just following folk and round Sandown. I just found I couldn't get close enough to pass people, so I think there was a few folk fell out, so you kind of got the freebie passes there. So, but no, I was quite happy to gain positions, so I was quite happy with that.
And just off of the back of race number 1, and then race number 2 didn't quite go the way you wanted in the end. A P43 finish, P20 in class. I mean, it just wasn't to be.
No, I didn't work out. No.
A bit more of a positive at race number 3 in the fact a reverse grid in the end, and well, not just the reverse grid but also the absolute madness that occurred as a result of what was the incident on the opening lap. I mean, just take us through from your perspective the roller coaster ride that must have been starting all the way from the back and then finding yourself battling for the lead.
I didn't actually see any of it because I started on pole for race 3, so I didn't see any of it. So I was quite glad to not be in part of that. I just saw it in the stream later on after we finished the race where everybody was carnaged into everyone at turn 4.
Oh, my apologies indeed, getting ahead of myself there, but indeed starting on pole and correcting myself. The fact starting on pole and battling with Sam Van Olst on the opening lap, I mean, a golden opportunity for both of you to fight for the Pro-Am win, but also the overall win. And just off the back of that, of course, I have to ask, what was the bigger thing in your mind at that point? Was it going for the class win or was it going for the overall result?
I think I was actually just I noticed Sam passed me in the second race and pulled away from me. In this third race I was like, I'll see if I can get a good start. If I get a good start and get in front of him, I might see if I can hold him off, but he got past me at the start and I thought, right, if I can stick with him and just stay with him, I'll be fine. I'll just get the result.
And as the battling went on between the two of you, we definitely got to see what was some fantastic action. But in the end, it looked as though going all the way down to the wire, it wasn't quite to be. And in the end, well, it was Sam who was just able to hold on.
Yeah, he just held on. He was really good. He just kept enough of a buffer between us so I couldn't even get near him. But it was good, clean racing from all of us at the front.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. And well, come the end of the race in at your first, what is Pro-Am podium of the season. It's some great points on the board and in the class championship, which does mean that at the moment, provisionally, you've moved up to P8, and well, you are at the best part of 21 points ahead of your rival today, and only 13 points over Nick Clibbins. How are you feeling at this point in the championship?
Optimistic of trying to move up and get higher in the championship, but also just trying to feed myself in and get good results and start working on from here, getting better results in the races as well.
Well, those results are surely going to keep on coming if you carry on this trend. And we're speaking of the next round of race, and we head to Motorland Aragon. How are you feeling for a visit to Spain?
Optimistic. I'll need to see how the car runs around there. I don't think I've had the touring car around there, so that'll be this week's job, is a bit practicing and see how it rolls and see how it goes.
Well, practice makes perfect, as they say, and we look forward to seeing how that practice pays off in a week's time. But just before we let you go, Stuart, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Big shout out to other Track Scotland guys and probably my brother, who's probably watching this as well.
Well, Stuart, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join me in the interview room. Congratulations once again on your performances today, particularly that P3 overall, P2 in class in the final race. We look forward to plenty more at Motorland Aragon in a week's time. But until then, happy practicing and have a fantastic rest of your evening.
Yeah. See you later, guys. Cheers.
So hearing there from Stuart Witvoet with regards to Track Scotland, and well, what a day it has been today for the Scotsman, with the fact qualifying may not have worked out, but race number 1 it most definitely did in terms of making some progress. Race number 2, we do apologise for the confusion with regards to what was his P18 overall finish, but according to our racing logs, a P43, there may have been an automated penalty applied to the end of his race that will have to be investigated by our stewards after the racing has been completed, with a P20 in class there as listed, but still it was reverse grid pole for the final race of the day, and whilst he wasn't quite able to bring on home the result versus what was Sandown's, a battle between the two of them that ran all the way through the race and all the way to the finish, well indeed in the end, as we see the pictures of the two giving chase to one another here with only laps to go. Well, Stuart Witvoet, it seems as though on his debut season things are definitely starting to take shape. And the positivity and indeed the rival of what will be Track Scotland to the grid only goes to bolster the width of the Next Gen Racing Series, but also on top of that, the fact that Track Scotland feels as though they're establishing their feet, and what I can imagine at Motorland Aragon, both Stuart and also teammate Kieran Smart will be eager to take the next step and continue to push their way upwards in the prime battles. But now, ladies and gentlemen, coming on to our third and final interview of today, we're going to be coming back to the pro class and hearing from none other than Jamie Dorey. And as he gets ready to join me in the interview room, we're going to be hearing the thoughts from what is our third and final interview and what has definitely been a taxing day for him, no doubt about it. And as he gets ready to join me, we're also going to be hearing his perspective on the fact that a small statistic for you, this is 3 wins in race 3 in a row. He seems to be making a habit of it, and we'll get to talk to him a little bit about the habit he's making as well. And, well, it's a good habit to have as he joins me now. Good evening to you, Jamie. And what a day of race it has been for yourself today for Next Gen Pink, in the fact almost a perfect set of top 10s, not quite able to, but also carrying on a very unique statistic you have with regards to your race 3 finishes, which is 3 race 3 wins in a row this season. How do you feel?
Yeah, not too bad. Just going on the championship hunt again. So, yeah, it does the job, doesn't it? You know, if you don't have the overall pace because of weight, take 1 and 2, you try and line yourself as best as you can for race 3, and my plan seems to be working. 3 out of 3 so far.
Well, 3 out of 3 so far, and well, coming away from race 3, we'll come back to that a bit later. Let's talk about qualifying. A P8 on a grid that was absolutely as tight as they come, top 36 separated by less than a second. From your perspective, qualifying was always going to be tough, but it looked as though there you put yourself in the top 10, that's where you wanted to be.
Yeah, so during practice and things, I never really found a line. The weight was killing me. So I was shocked to get a P8, I believe it was. But yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I don't know what Wojciech's got in his car. I think he's got a bit of nitrous in it. The guy's stupidly quick, but yeah, PA, I'll take that, and gives you a good stead for race 1 and 2.
And going into race number 1 and line up on the grid, of course, this Sandown circuit, one that we've really had embraced at the NXTCC since its arrival in what was season 3. And it looks like around here, overtaking opportunities were primarily relegated to the straights, of which the Audi having the leverage on the straights.
It did once the weight was gone. Race 1, it's quite heartbreaking when you sat behind a Veloster and he's pulling a 10.42 down the straight with the weight. So yeah, it was just the case of my usual driving style, as most people know, of just bagging those points while I can. Obviously, I had Ben Altria that I let through, and I was just picking my battles wisely, just trying to stay in touch with the top 10, score those points, and not let my championship rivals score too many. I know Wojciech got P1, but Mikey was a few places ahead of me at the time. So yeah, it's just, you know, bagging the points is more important than going for the stupid overtakes or risky overtakes, I should say.
Definitely a sensible approach. And going into race number 2, a P7 finish in race number 1, translating into what was a P11 finish in race number 2. Again, looked a bit of weight in the car holding you back, but also I think a lot of elbows starting to come out in race 2.
Yeah, race 2, I was involved in an incident at the first chicane. I got hit into the wall, which gave me right rear suspension damage. So for 16 laps, I was driving with the car at about a 10-degree angle with rear suspension. Luckily, it wasn't enough to meatball me. But I lost the Audis. The aero is key in these cars. I know they're not aero focused cars, but it really does make a difference when you're struggling down a straight. And yeah, with the steering damage, it was quite hard to drive down the fast sections. Luckily, again, I had Lee behind me, and I know Lee's not going to go for silly moves. I know he's all about bagging points as well. So I felt quite comfortable where I was. In the last lap, there was a battle which managed to get me into P13, which is where I want to be for the race 3, because I know I'm in that reverse grid draw, and whatever circumstances or whatever the reverse grid's going to be, the lowest place I'm going to be is P13 in the reverse grid. So you just try and sit in that reverse grid spot if you can. So yeah.
Well, very tactical approach in the build-up to race number 3, and an awarded approach with what was a top 18 reverse grid. We saw before the safety car got deployed some early gains from yourself off the line, and then shortly after we resumed the racing with what was the best part of 13 laps to go, some quick charges and soon going for the lead versus Sam Van Olst.
Yeah, so I know the people around me, I kind of had to use the Audi start, which I've got pretty nailed now, to just try and put me in good stead in the top 5 at least, top 4 ideally. Lee ran a bit wide in turn 1, which gave a Audi sized gap and some between him and Alex. So I seized that, put myself in P3, and after turn 4 going on the back straight, I believe it is, I managed to get the run on the Elantra of Stewart, and I was in good stead, P2 before the safety car. So I knew that with Sam, I had a bit of time. I looked at my relative under safety car. I didn't have any of my rivals near or nearabouts. I think unfortunately they got caught in the incident, and it was just like I say, just buying my time, watching where Sam was stronger, watching where he was weaker, and planning that move. So when it was done, I knew I could pull a bit of a gap and cover myself, which paid off in the end with I think just under a 3-second gap lead.
You'd be correct in recalling it. That indeed a sizable gap to take the checker flag, and with it the second highest points haul as of this round accrued in a single round. Wojciech Swirydowicz extending his championship lead slightly, provisionally now stand at 394 to yourself in second place on 336. I mean, surely the first goal's got to be to establish your foundations inside the top 3, but when can we expect to see you start to reel in our championship leader?
Well, this is the issue, is he's just at the moment I don't really have an answer for him, and I'm sure if I spoke to Mikey behind the scenes, he's similar. Him in that car just seems hooked up. You know, I don't know how to play it. I'm kind of still weighing up my options. I'm hoping that there'll be a point where he struggles with the weight. But it's really awkward because, you know, 2 race 3s now, I think this season, he's had incidents or very low score finishes. So that's when I'm trying to put all my eggs in one basket. But I don't like going for these moves that potentially could leave with a 0 score. It's weighing up risk against reward, but I'm going to have to try something. I think I'm going to have a relook and see what I can do, if anything.
Oh, indeed, sounds like a challenge which you're going to need to crack sooner rather than later, and there could be an opportunity to do so next week at Motorland Aragon. The first time we've ever visited it in the NXTCC. How are you feeling for the trip to Spain?
It's an interesting track. It's obviously there's tyre stacks in the touring car layout we're doing, and those tyre stacks, if they're hit, have a lovely tendency, unlike most games sims, these tyre stacks do move, so there is a potential to them coming across a field. It's quite solid object, so it's got some straights on it. I don't know what to expect. It's like I say, I can't say. Like tonight, I thought the Veloster would have been very, very strong. I think Audi's took all 3 wins, so that took me by surprise. You know, we'll have to see how it goes and just put a bit of a charge on.
We do look forward to seeing it when you put the charge on at Motorland Aragon. But just before we do let you go, Jamie, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to live on the broadcast tonight?
Yeah, the usual. Yourself for doing a tremendous job, Paul. Very professional as always. You know, a special thanks to Martin and Gaz today. I know Gaz had to do in the safety car some laps. He's now charging me per mile an hour instead of per lap, so that's getting more and more expensive each season. And Martin doing the stewarding. Yeah, just everyone who participates and makes this league arguably the biggest touring car league in iRacing. So yeah, it's, you know, everyone involved and all the sponsors, NXTGEN, everything. So yeah, it's always good.
Well, Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join me in the interview. But congratulations on your results today, particularly the win in race number 3. We look forward to seeing whether you can crack the conundrum, which is reeling in Wojciech Swirydowicz in a week's time at Motorland Aragon. But until then, have a great rest of your evening, and thank you once again.
Right, we'll see you next week.
So hearing it there from our final interview of today, Jamie Dory from NXTGEN Pink, and very interested to hear his thoughts with regards to the fact that qualifying really being the straightforward, needing to qualify as high as possible, not just because it's a given in the world of motorsport, but also the fact knowing that just being inside the top 10 is a great starting position and being able to then go on the attack in both races 1 and 2. But intriguing, they're talking about the fact having to play a bit more of a conservative race 1. And in race number 2, picking up some sizable damage in the process of the opening lap, and therefore then having to offset and mitigate that damage all the way through to the end, driving a car with bent steering and bent suspension, but able to bring home that P11. And as the race went on, turning it more into a question of looking to target finishing around P13 to guarantee a slot in that reverse grid, and that Turkington-esque approach that we hear Jamie talk about time and time again, really demonstrating itself, and using that, plus also his knowledge of his racecraft, and that's why he's a 2-time drivers champion in the NXTCC, to find his way through and take victory in race number 3 against a prime pack of drivers who were no slouches, no doubt about that, as we've just seen on the replay footage, the pass that Jamie made on Sandown for the overall win. But when asked there about can he find a way to reel on in the leading Audi driver and the championship leader of Wojciech Swirydowicz, they don't have an answer for him as of yet. Well, definitely that seems to be the key thing here right now. The Semper Racing driver seems to be in a class of his own up the front of the field, but could a change of tone at Motorland Aragon particularly shake things up? Well, only time will tell, but one thing's for certain, you'll imagine the NXTGEN Pink driver Jamie Dory will be there and waiting to pounce if an opportunity arises. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our interviews for today. And, well, thank you firstly to our 3 drivers for joining us for interview. And they did include, of course, Patrick Falconer for JW Motorsport in the Pro class. We also heard from Stuart Winess from Track Scotland in the Prime class. And then we've just heard from Jamie Dory, the NXTGEN Pink driver in the Pro class. Congratulations to all 3 of them on their performances. And we look forward to plenty more from them in a week's time in Spain. But now let's give you an update on the provisional championship standings after 3 rounds of racing. And starting with the top 15 in the overall championship, we can see that Wojciech Swirydowicz has extended his lead. Despite missing out on any points in the final race of the day, he has extended his lead to the best part now of what is 88 point over the field as headed up by Jamie Dory in P2. Indeed, the fight for P2 continues to intensify, with Dory taking P2 for the first time this season ahead of Mikey Doble by the 24 points, and there's a sizable gap of what is at 16 points there to Luciano Witvoet, but the key point being, with all these drivers jostling for that second place spot, could Swirydowicz just have the opportunity to break away even further as the rounds go on and we move into the second third of the season. Well, for Witvoet is Benjamin McCluskey, who can see they're 32 points behind, but he's got his own troubles with Joseph Doble, only 8 points behind him. Then it's Gavin Gardner, Patrick Falconer, Adam Delwyn and Isaac Doble who complete your top 10. The leading prime driver at this point in time is Alex Meredith in P11, 198 points. He's going to be the best part of 9 points clear of Kieran Sharp, with Nick Clemens, Akram Zanoon and Jack Jeffries completing your top 15. But indeed, to be inside the top 10 in this overall championship right now, it's absolutely nip and tuck, and that is going to be something that's only going to get tighter and tighter as we go into next week. Then going on to the Prime class, and here we can see Adam McNally leads the top 15 and the standings as a whole on 346 points over the 336 of Alex Meredith. And well, for today, Adam McNally not quite able to make as many points as he did last time out, but he'll still be grateful he's been able to steer clear of most of the drama and stay ahead of his rivals. With Alex Meredith having a strong set of performances today, albeit a question mark perhaps over the incident between himself and Lee Horn in race number 3 and the opening couple of corners, but that'll be looked at after the racing. But Meredith moving back into P2 ahead of Ben Altria, who sits a further 14 points behind, and it's a further 5 to Akram Zanoon, with Matthew Sheraton 7 points behind, completing your top 5. And what can we take from that? Well, there's no clear favourite in the Prime class currently. Indeed, our top 5 all close together, and don't count out P6 driver Daniel Downing. The Goldwing Motorsport driver continues to have bad luck following from round to round since Monza. Can he break the bad luck spell in Spain in a week's time? He'll be hoping to do so, because he won't want to go any further down, because if he goes down by a further 5 points, Nick Clemens will be waiting for him. Stuart Wennis moves to P8 on 280 points with his best set of results this season so far, ahead of Sam Van Ols by the best part of 21 points. Then Alan McCain completes your top 10, a further 2 points behind. Luke Jones is best of SP11 on 255, 10 clear of Reese Watt, but notice that it's only 2 points between Jones and McCain to get inside the top 10. And then Shane Piggott, Matthew Addy and Slavomir Javoski complete your top 15, with Javoski not on the grid tonight. We then come to the AM class. And in the battle that's back and forth between Mark Sykes and Harley Bicknell, Mark Sykes has established a foothold, it would seem, by only what is 27 points. But 27 points for a single point, leading is leading, and Mark Sykes will take that forward into round number 4. Bicknell had 2 wins out of 3 today, and he'll be hoping for more of that to continue to bring back the gap, with Gabriel Yilmaz leading the way at P3, best the rest on 339 points. He's a sizable gap away from Bicknell and Sykes, the best part there 102, but at the same time as well, he'll be taking strength from the fact he is now moving clear of Craig Tillotson, who is 23 points behind. Jonathan Collins has moved to P5, only 4 points off of Tillotson after the great set of results, albeit no points scored in race number 3. And Kevin Smith has leapt up to P6 on 273 after a top 5 finish in the final race of the day, and also in race number 1. And he'll take that over Daniel Fritz, his rival there for Whiskey Runners Racing behind the Rhino Motorsport driver, with Riley Sheringham staying P8 there on 240 points, 21 ahead of James Smaslersgow, and Mark Kent completing your top 10 but not on the grid today. Darren Eels is P11 ahead of Roy Plummer, with Costa Chatscontinental and also their Riley Edwards completing what is your top 14. Albeit Mattiman's not currently on the points chart, and we'll see him added going into round number 4. But with that, ladies and gents, we now come on to the teams at championship points, and here we can see your top 10 teams, and it's NXTGEN Pink who continue to lead. But look at how close the gap is getting. It is tightening little by little, 19 points now between NXTGEN Pink and Doble Sim Racing and Semper Racing. With low numbers on the grid today, they fall further behind but stay P3. For Semper Racing, the target will be to try and close the gap to the top 2, but they've got to be aware of SRL and NXTGEN Gold. They're not too far behind, and JW Motorsport moving to P5 and look to hold on to it by 3 points over Team NXTGEN. The Sim Racing Collective sit on 300 points precisely in P7 with their struggles in the Honda being shown today, but they'll still take the confidence that they're holding on to P7 ahead of VB Fusion in the world of racing. And then iRacing Esports and Goldwing Motorsport complete your team's top 10. And with that, it is now time for us to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have enjoyed today's show, and perhaps you're sat there right now wanting to be on the grid for a future season of the NXTCC, or wanting to know more about Next Gen Race in terms of the series we run and what goes on behind the scenes and everything in between, well, firstly, we recommend you check out our website. That is nextgenracing.co.uk, and as our website appears on screen, it's the home of clean and fair sim racing for all. And we've been hosting leagues primarily on PC as of late on iRacing, but we now look to expand onto other platforms such as rFactor 2. There's never been a better time to race with Next Gen Racing. Whether you're a casual driver making your first dips into sim racing, all the way through to a professional esports driver, we'd love to have you on the grid. And well, there's never been a better time in 2024 to be part of the Next Gen Racing community. But if you don't want to go to our website necessarily, you can, of course, follow us on social media. The best place to do so is via our Facebook group, and that's at facebook.com/groups/NextGenRacing. And there you can find out all the same information as on our website, and also a little bit more about the guys and girls behind the scenes who make Next Gen Racing run as it does, and what they get up to, not just in the virtual circuit, but also the real-life circuit, with a number of our staff members being track marshals, and even some of them real-life race drivers. We'd like to take a moment to say a big thank you to our sponsors, of course, without whom this would not be possible. They do include PowerMax, Next Level Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Sam Cases UK, Douglas Motorsport, Benji Sim Photos, and our title sponsor for this season, of course, IMB Racewear. And well, to introduce IMB Racewear, the sim racing and real-life racing racewear provider that prides itself on individuality with their fully custom designs, enabling you to make the impact you have always wanted to on track, as their racewear is designed for you by you. Do head to their website, that's imbracewear.com, to find out more about IMB Racewear's fully customizable product range, which brings benefits you just cannot get from off-the-shelf products. And now, ladies and gentlemen, attention turns to a week's time for round number 4 on Tuesday the 2nd of April 2024. It'll be the Motorland Aragon circuit that plays host for the first time in NXTCC history, and with a touring car racing course, it's going to be tight, it's going to be twisty, and will that serve to take away the dominance of the Audi drivers within their respective classes and see some new drivers make their way to the front? All that and more will be found out then, but until then, we've been Next Gen Racing. I've been your host and commentator, Paul TX141 Walsh, also known as Britain a Spit, depending on media follow me on. And until next time, remember to stay safe, stay well, stay smiling, but most importantly, remember to stay on track. Good night.